Hello, good morning and welcome to the AM show here on the Joy News channel. It's a Friday, the beginning of the weekend, and we are all getting into the weekend mood. But it's also a day that some people are being called to the bar. They are achieving their lifelong dreams. What about you? Are you achieving yours? Have you achieved yours? If you have not, it's still not too late, because God has an appointed time for all of us all. So your time may come in the afternoon of today. Yours may also come in the evening. But celebrate those who have attained their vision this morning. And so to all our friends who are being called to the bar this morning, congrats to you and make us proud at the bar. Wherever you are, welcome to the AM show. Let me run you through how the day will unfold. We'll begin with the AM news. After that, we'll bring you the AM sports, and then we delve into the news review where we tell you what the papers are reporting today. Those who will be joining me to do this is Professor Isaac Body. He is Dean of the Faculty of Accounting and Finance at the UPSA. Kwame Asah-Asante is General Secretary of the Convention People's Party. They will be joining me for us to review the papers. And then we delve into the big stories. The new Patriotic Party will be balloting for its January 2026 parliamentary primaries. Who will occupy which position we'll get to know today in terms of the presidential primaries, which is slated for 31st of January 2026. We speak to analysts on this particular development. NIMOS rates the K3 Points Forest Reserve, arresting several Galamseyers and destroying mining equipment and drugs in the process. We'll bring you update on this, plus how government is fighting illegal mining and what you do make of that particular fight by government. We'll have a couple of drive-bys as well on the show. And it's Friday, right? So your favorite, the enchanting Noella Carrion Yale, will be on your screens to bring you E-Corner, where we'll bring you a wrap of what's happening on the entertainment world. So do stay with us. Let's go through the day here on the show. But remember, your thoughts are very much welcome. So join us on our social media platforms and on phone as well, when we create opportunity for you to share with us what you make of the issues that we'll be discussing with you. It's time for us to kickstart the show with the AM news. Do stay with us. Well, let's start off our AM news with a first story. And the latest Pure Earth report on mercury and other heavy metals impact assessment has found dangerous levels of mercury vapor in the air across some illegal mining communities. The report shows concentrations far above accepted safety limits. Health experts warn that inhaled mercury is more potent than other forms and could trigger a public health crisis in mining areas where mercury is heated to extract gold. Michael Ashley reports for this week's Clear Air Reports.
They have polluted rivers, destroyed forests, and left the earth scarred. But a new report by Pure Earth reveals that the damage runs deeper. Illegal mining has contaminated food and water across several communities with dangerous levels of heavy metals. For years, many believed the threat was local, something they could escape by avoiding food and water from mining zones. But now, the Pure Earth report warns the danger is in the air. According to the Pure Earth report on mercury and other heavy metals impact assessment, air samples taken from some regions recorded mercury concentrations far higher than what is considered safe.
So we have a device called a Jerome. Jerome measures the mercury vapor in the air. And so we hold that, we turn it on, and it's able to tell us, the amount of mercury vapor in the air at that particular time. And then we do that around, we don't just measure. So if you go to the site, we'll measure about 90 times to be able to establish a mean. Of course, the average values, the maximum values, as part of the work we've done.
Reverend Dr. Esmond Kwanzaa has spent years studying mercury contamination.
Across all these 6 regions, we found mercury in the soil in very, very high levels. And I think Konongo, Zongo, and Konongo, Dumansi, rank top with highest values. That is shocking. And then we look at mercury also in the air, in almost all the sites. In fact, the standard mercury in the air ambient is 1 microgram per cubic meter. That's the standard. But we've seen an average of about 1.84 microgram per cubic meter. And in some cases, Wasa Kanyanko, we've seen the mercury vapor in the air as much as 150
wow. That's a
microgram
lot.
per cubic meter. I mean, for just one being a standard to 150. And so if you look at the average, which is about 84%, 1.84 microgram per cubic meter in all the sites, that is really worrying.
What worries him most isn't just what happens at mining sites. It's where the danger travels.
We've seen a lot of these sites where, and that's for me my worrying concern, because the gold is extracted from the bush, then they bring this amalgam to the community to burn, where there are a lot of homes. I mean, if you go to Obuasi, for example, you can see some of these activities also happening. Not far from Nyame Bechere, where we did some of the work as well. So this is really concerning.
When mercury is heated, it turns into vapor, a gas that is both colorless and odorless. But the moment it's inhaled, it becomes a toxin the body cannot handle. To understand the impact, I spoke with Dr. Denzel Tay, a medical doctor at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital.
Now, when you inhale mercury, you inhale something we call elemental mercury. And one of the first things it does is that it goes to your lungs, where it can cause all manner of complications. Unlike other minerals like zinc and iron, your body can use those minerals. But when it comes to mercury, it's purely toxic. Your body has no use for it, and so it begins a process that can lead to death. The danger is particularly with long-term exposure to mercury, because in that case, a lot of the time, you are not even aware you are being exposed to mercury. By the time the symptoms begin to develop, there's very little we can do to prevent death or the terrible consequences of mercury toxicity or mercury poisoning.
He explains that while mercury in food or water is dangerous, inhaling the vapor is far worse, a point echoed by senior lecturer and health toxicologist Dr. John Ako Mensah of the University of Ghana School of Public Health.
In the study of poisons, that is called toxicology, the route of exposure is very important. So some things, because elemental mercury, when you eat it, actually it doesn't do much to the body. But when you inhale it, it's a different thing altogether. When you inhale vapor, mercury vapor, then the effect can be immediate.
Quite shocking. And you ask yourself, what can you do? But well, what would say? Away from that, the Crops Research Institute of the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research is making advancement to boost vegetable production and consumption in the Upper East region through improved varieties of seed. At a debate held in Tono in the Kasana-Nankana municipality, farmers were introduced to new improved varieties of tomatoes and elite lines of okra and amaranth developed by the Crops Research Institute. Correspondent Albert Sorry reports.
The farmers selected from Tono, Via and Pualugu were educated on the nutritional benefits of these improved vegetable seedlings and participated in sensory testing where they sampled dishes prepared from the improved varieties to compare the taste and quality with those of the local varieties. They also received free seed kits to support production in their respective communities. Only the tomato varieties, CRI Kwabna and Kopia tomatoes, have been officially released, while the okra and amaranth elite lines are expected to follow soon. Principal research scientist and vegetable breeder at the Crops Research Institute of the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, Dr. Michael Kwame Asah-Asante, highlighted the significance of the new vegetable varieties.
Farmers originally use what we call sulfate of ammonia and urea, and what it does is that it locks the uptake of very good nutrients. So in other case, it increases the pH and make it very acidic. Now with this new variety that we bring on board, what happens is I come with a package that make use of a fertilizer we call calcium nitrate and potassium nitrate. These are very good because in a way the calcium builds the cells of the tomato, makes it have high shelf life. Okay, and then it is friendly to the soil, unlike the normal urea and the sulfate that they have been using. So I can say they are sustainable, but of course if we want to get the potential yield of our variety, we need to follow our agronomic package.
The initiative forms part of the Technologies for African Agricultural Transformation TART program, spearheaded in Ghana by the Crops Research Institute of the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research in partnership with the World Vegetable Center. Under the TART-2 Vegetable Compact Project, demonstration fields have been established in the Upper East, Volta, and Bono regions to showcase the performance of the improved varieties and strengthen the vegetable value chain.
So the role of World Vegetable Center in this project is we are the technology transfer agents. So what we do is we make sure all the technologies which are supposed to be scaled are done. So we work hand in hand with the National Research Institution, which is CRI. We work with them to make sure all the technologies which they have developed, we World Veg have developed, like improved varieties and the post-harvest technologies such as the zero energy cooling chamber, is transferred to the end beneficiaries, which is the farmers. So that is what we do, and we are funded by African Development Bank.
The Kassena Nankana municipal head of the Department of Agriculture, Kasim Salifu, urged farmers to adopt the improved varieties, describing them as well suited to the local climate.
If you compare past projects, they concentrate on cereals, and food does not limit itself to cereals. And over the years, a lot of farmers shifted from tomato to pepper. But with this one, it is an eye-opener, and it will reorient the farmer's mindset to going back into tomato.
Some of the farmers who participated in the Deba expressed excitement about the taste and quality of the new vegetable varieties. They said they were willing to adopt them for production in the next farming season.
This new variety, it lasts. You can keep it for a while, and then it doesn't easily spoil at the farm like our local ones. The local ones, when it's time for rainy season, there's always cracks, and then when you put them down, it will spoil.
Actually, the way I tasted this thing that I live, is good for me. Sometimes from the soup itself, the vegetable itself, have a taste. And sometimes it be the ingredients where they make the taste, but actually it's good for me.
Reporting for Joy News, Albert Sorry, Tono, Upper East Region.
A member of Parliament for Jirapa, Kletos Seidu Dapela, is urging students, teachers, especially newly trained ones, to accept postings to rural and hard-to-reach communities. Speaking at the launch of the Jirapa Municipal Education Improvement Fund, he lamented the poor state of basic education, attributing it partly to the shortage of teachers. He therefore appealed to newly trained teachers to accept postings to the municipality to help reverse the trend. Joy News' Upper West regional correspondent Rafik Salam reports from Jirapa.
The Jiriba Member of Parliament, Cletus Seydou Dapla, speaking at the launch of the Jiriba Municipal Education Improvement Fund, bemoaned the fallen standards of education in the municipality. One of the reasons adduced is the refusal of some teachers to accept postings to some rural or hard-to-reach communities. Cletus Seydou Dapla, however, urged teachers, particularly newly trained teachers, to accept postings to rural areas.
We are in a municipality. Every part of this municipality, we have schools dotted around, whether rural, whether town, whether hamlet. But we need teachers in these schools to be able to impart knowledge, to change society. So all I'm trying to say is that we need teachers to be posted to every community that we have a school in this municipality. That is the beginning of how to improve education.
The Teacher 10 legislature for Jiriba discloses plans of giving facelift to infrastructure projects to improve teaching and learning at schools in the municipality. Jiriba Municipal Education Director Hudi Kunate welcomed the move by the MP and the MCE and other stakeholders to establish the Education Improvement Fund.
I'm happy to announce to all of you that we will soon be turning Hen Senior High into a boarding site. Myself, with the regional minister and the GET Fund administrator, we decided to send some projects that will start construction of those projects before December. We were building a girls' dormitory, a very big one, boys' dormitory, classroom blocks, administration blocks, and whatever. So many projects are coming into that school. Ulo Senior High will not be left out. We are going to start with a 12-unit classroom block, story building, and other facilities. Jirapa Senior High will not be left out. Many projects were started those days and not completed. So GET Fund has agreed to pay the contractors so that they will come and complete all the uncompleted buildings in Jirapa Senior High. And when that is done, they will also have enough infrastructure to be able to impart the knowledge that we all want on our children. St. Francis Girls Secondary School wouldn't be left out. We are giving them an ICT center worth over 10 million Ghana cedis. We are going to build a very big one that so the schools can go there and learn. We'll build it and furnish it properly, and other facilities are coming. So, my brothers and sisters, we are not there to sleep. We want to work for the betterment of Jirapa.
Jiriba Municipal Education Director Hudi Kunate welcomed the move by the MP and the MCE and other stakeholders to establish the Education Improvement Fund.
The initiative, of course, is a snitch in time that, without doubt, will meet its desired purpose. Inefficient utilization of resources, very often than not, cause stagnation to well-planned developmental projects. The Directorate, in view of the difficulties witnessed in the past, hereby give 100% assurance of proper usage of this fund.
Jiriba Municipal Chief Executive Peter Antoine appealed for more support from benevolent organizations, sons and daughters of the area to enable them achieve the intended purpose.
The future of Jirapa depends on how well we prepare our children today. Let us not wait for others to do it for us. Let us lead the way. Let Jirapa be known, not just for the hospitality and peace alone, but as the municipality that invested in the minds of its children.
Reporting for Joy News, Rafik Salam, Jiriba.
The long-standing debate over Ghana's top university has been settled once again, as the Times Higher Education World University Rankings has named the University of Cape Coast the #1 university in Ghana and West Africa for the 5th consecutive year. At a press conference to announce the recognition, Acting Vice Chancellor Professor Dennis Walanyo Aheto credited the remarkable achievement to the university's commitment to academic excellence impactful research and global engagement. He noted that the ranking reaffirms UCC's position as a leading institution shaping higher education in Ghana and beyond.
The University of Cape Coast has once again clinched the top spot as the #1 university in Ghana and West Africa, following the release of the 2026 Times Higher Education World University Rankings. The university was also adjudged 11th best in Africa. Speaking at a press conference, the acting vice-chancellor of the university, Professor Dennis Wolanyo-Aheto, gave more details about the rankings.
I do have the singular honor, and with great delight, hereby announce to the entire university, stakeholders, and the general public, and the world at large, that the University of Cape Coast, UCC, has consolidated its position as the topmost #1 ranked university both in Ghana and West Africa, and 11th in Africa in the 2026 Times Higher Education World University Ranking.
He added that the feat reflects the quality outputs of the university.
Our current performance could be acronymized as 1111. Sure. So, #1 in Ghana, #1 in West Africa, and 11th in Africa. The aforementioned achievements are a testament to the high quality and reputable scholarly research outputs of UCC, particularly over the past decade. By these feats, UCC has also demonstrated its continuous and impactful scholarly contributions to the national, sub-regional, regional, and global higher education. This emphasizes the relentless efforts and deep commitment of our entire faculty, staff, and students towards conducting cutting-edge and impactful research for societal relevance.
The World University Rankings is the most comprehensive global university rankings league table. The new ranking solidifies the University of Cape Coast's position as the #1 university in Ghana and West Africa for the 5th consecutive year. Congratulations to the University of Competitive Choice. From Cape Coast, Abigail Lesel and Nkrumah reports for Joy News.
Well, we're going to do business, but of course, I'm sure in your homes you are applauding the only university under Christ control, UCC, for coming first in 5 consecutive years. So, I said, the debate will continue wherever you are, but away from that, let's do some business now. But we're starting from what's happening on the currency market. Well, the Center for Environmental Management and Sustainable Energy has sounded the alarm, urging the government to take immediate action to prevent the potential collapse of Ghana's upstream sector. Their caution follows PIAC's semi-annual report, which revealed that Ghana has not attracted new investment in its upstream petroleum industry since 2018, a revelation they described as worrying. Speaking to Joy Business on the development, Executive Director for the Center for Environmental Management and Sustainable Energy, Benjamin Insia, called for urgent steps to avert the looming threat.
Sector where there's been some drawbacks with respect to revenues inflows to them, especially GNPC's revenue has been halved. It is also going to affect GNPC's ability to operate within its mandate well. And I think that we need to really look at the space, because our oil sector, especially the upstream, is collapsing. And if appropriate measures or interventions are not applied within the shortest possible time, we may not even have upstream again. And upstream that was doing about 71 million barrels in 2019 is now doing 48 in 2024. And even in the first half of 2025 is doing about 18.5 million barrels. What it means is that maybe by the close of 2025, if maybe for no upward adjustment in number of liftings, for the second half of 2025 means that we are likely going to do about 30 or so, or 37 or so million barrels a year. And that's about a 10% shortfall compared to 2024. So it threatens our ability to mobilize revenue for various projects that will be earmarked for either for GMPC, either for GIF, or either for some of the petroleum fund revenue, that's stabilization fund and heritage fund. So it is a cause for worry. And I think that we need to set up as a country by maybe building a stakeholder team, a technical team, to look at why we are not attracting the necessary investment and why we think that GMPC should be funded to operate efficiently and get us more of the output we need for upward adjustment of the outputs we've been seeing over the years.
Now, the Bank of Ghana's decision to implement drastic changes in how it sells dollars to the market is already impacting the cedi's performance. More in this report from the business desk.
The Bank of Ghana on Tuesday announced that it is making some drastic changes over how it sells foreign exchange to the market as well as the commercial banks. This would also result in the Bank of Ghana provide dollars immediately to the banks as soon as the transaction or the auction is closed rather than later. Joy Business is learning that the news has already impacted the cedi's fortunes on the interbank market, making some marginal gains in terms of the improved price quotes. It has also helped improve liquidity on the interbank market, a development that actually started last month after recent liquidity squeeze. The Bank of Ghana is planning to inject more than $1 billion by selling $300 million every week for a month. Even before this month, the Bank of Ghana had increased the amount it sells to the market. The cedi's rate of depreciation over the past 2 months has slowed significantly, and some are linking to these regulatory interventions by the Bank of Ghana.
We'll wrap up the business update with what's happening on the commodities market. And then after that, we'll bring you AM Sports.
It's the Friday edition of Sports on the AM show. My name is Haruna Mubarak. Now, Otuado's future remains uncertain, even as he edges closer to guiding Ghana to back-to-back World Cup appearances. Sports Minister Kofi Adams has described the Black Stars coach as lucky, but says there are still major concerns about his performance. He believes some of Ado's decisions have been questionable, even as Ghana inches closer to qualification. Kofi Adams spoke to Evans Mensah on PM Express.
Well, he's been lucky, but there's still concerns.
What are the concerns?
Well, concerns that he himself, most times when we meet, there are some he will admit, maybe I should have done a substitution, or I should have urged them on, or maybe I should have freed this person to play this role. And so there are concerns. But I must say he's been lucky. But it doesn't mean that he shouldn't improve.
You know, when you say he's lucky, you're almost saying the qualification is not necessarily because Otuado is competent. It's other factors.
I can't say that.
Because luck is not necessarily as a result
I can't say
the deliberate input.
Evans, I can't say that he's totally incompetent. I can't use the word incompetence on him because first and foremost, I'm not a coach. I'm not a coach. I'm only a minister.
But you're not satisfied yet.
Of course,
he's yet to convince you.
There are decisions. There are decisions that makes me not be satisfied, especially when you are taking your senior national team and you are going to that level. You need to.
So that begs the question. He qualifies you to the World Cup, but is he the man for the World Cup?
Well, I can't answer that question now. If I answer the question now, then I will be kind of creating a situation. The minister doesn't take the.
You don't.
The minister doesn't take.
But you are
the minister.
One of the important voices in the decision-making process.
The minister will receive briefings. The minister will analyze the briefings. The minister will not take that decision alone.
Now, Otuado will be on the touchline on Sunday when Ghana face Comoros. The Black Stars hold a commanding lead in Group I, with Madagascar needing to beat Mali and hope Ghana lose to Comoros by at least 8 goals to stand any chance. Meanwhile, a draw for Ghana would be enough to seal automatic qualification. Fans are encouraged to fill the Accra Sports Stadium and create a carnival atmosphere for the team. The Director General of the National Sports Authority, Yao Ampofo-Ankra, is promising an exciting experience.
Beyond the fact that we need to pay for a lot of, let's be very honest. Those who were here 6 months ago or a few months ago, you can see the notable changes that have taken place here at the stadium. So we need to continue on that trajectory. We need to continue going up and up. When you pass through the streets, you would not even see the Accra Sports Stadium in lights. You might think, oh, that's not a big deal, but it is. It's technology, it has to be paid for. Painting work, you might think it's not a big deal, but it is. Drainage work, there's a lot of work that goes on that you may not even see with your naked eyes. And we've been encouraged to be innovative and to think outside the box. I think that's what the man who appointed us here has asked us to do. We cannot complain about lack of money when we have the means to put in place modalities to get funding to fix what we can. Obviously, beyond a certain threshold, we cannot do that. But what we can is what we're trying to do to make sure that you have an experience anytime you come to the Accra Sports Stadium. And on Sunday, you see an elevated experience again. We can't do it all. It's not Stamford Bridge or Emirates or Anfield, but it is Ghana's Wembley, and we need to make sure that we protect that image and integrity. And we need you in the media to help us to get that message across, that we've got to be very mindful of the fact that the capacity is not even up to 40,000 yet. We've been inundated with requests, which I would imagine will be millions. So that's not possible. We need to make sure that we protect the stadium, the people in there, the services, and the facilities, and then we upgrade with whatever we can. And the deductions are there, I've just told you. So it's not as if the gate proceeds will be coming to the NSA. 20% of the gate proceeds come to the NSA. And with that, we need to still work and upgrade so that you would have a good experience.
Now, Ghana may have one foot in next year's World Cup, but the same cannot be said for this year's Africa Cup of Nations. The Black Stars failed to qualify for the continental tournament, which kicks off in December in Morocco. There are, however, growing concerns in the host nation as thousands of young Moroccans have taken to the streets demanding reforms and an end to corruption. But CAF President Patrice Motsepe has dismissed any doubts about the tournament's future despite the protests.
We've heard these questions about what's happening in Morocco and what our position is, and our position is very clear. Morocco is plan A, Morocco is plan B, Morocco is plan C, and we are absolutely confident that we will, as CAF, cooperate, work together with the government, the people, and all the citizens and all the people of Morocco to host the most successful CAF in the history of this competition. The important issue for us as well is to recognize the power of football, to unite our people, to bring our people together. We are all Africans. Today, we are all Congolese. A few months ago, we were all Ugandans, we were all Tanzanians, we were all Kenyans when we had the Chan in those countries. Next year, we will all be Nigerian. We love everyone of the 54 countries in Africa, and it's a great honor for us to be in the beautiful country, DRC, Congo DRC, and I was expressing my deep personal gratitude to President Tshisekedi for the beautiful way that he hosted us.
Now to the Ghana Premier League now, and things are not getting any easier for Dreams FC as they travel to Takwa to face second-placed Medeama Sporting Club. The visitors remain winless after 4 games, including 3 defeats. However, their head coach, Winfred Dormon, he says preparations have been good and is confident his team can finally pick up their first victory.
I mean, by and large, preparation has been good. We have some rough edges to correct, and on Friday the team will be ready to play.
Now, coach, how important is this game for the team as we look to build momentum in the league?
Well, it's very, very important game. Dreams FC against Medeama on any other day is a crucial game, and especially from where Dreams FC is coming from. We are, yes, struggling, but we are playing some interesting football. It's just that we are also conceding some bad avoidable goals. We are also not scoring enough, and the technical team has been working around the clock and making sure in all departments, the goalkeeping department, the defense, the midfield, attack is solid and ready for Medeama on Friday.
Medeama are a strong side, especially at home. What kind of game are you expecting from them?
Yes, on paper they are a strong side, but we have also beaten them before on that same pitch. Recently, we also engaged them in the century. But of course, it's the Ghana Premier League, and the dynamics are different. We respect them, but we are not going to estimate them. We know that they are a good side, decent side. I mean, they have sharp wingers, and attackers, but we also know that they have some weakness in their defense, and these are areas that we also will be looking forward to exploit on Friday.
Let's take a look at the rest of the fixtures for Week 5 of the Ghana Premier League, and of course, later today, Medeama, they will take on Dreams FC, and on Saturday, we've got the Ashanti Derby. Nations FC, they will host Asante Kotoko, and Gold Stars will be away to Vision FC. And on Sunday, Young Apostles, they take on Basake Holy Stars. FC Samatex will welcome 11 Wonders. Kerala United lock horns with Brecum Chelsea. Hoho United entertain Swedro All Blacks. Diana FC, they will come up against Bechem United. And on Monday is first against third. Heart of Lions are away to Hearts of Oak.
Hello and thanks for joining us here on the AM show. It's time for us to review what the papers are reporting today. It's the new news review segment. As we do always, we'll give you the headlines before we delve into the details. Let's start with the news center. Now, on the front page of the news center, it says Mafi Adidome to host 2025 mini Anlo Obechochoza. The details are on page 7 there. Lumbe's first wife seeks to injunct burial plans. Whoa, that'll be big. Details are on page 4 of the news center. Cervical cancer vaccination target 2.4 million girls. Details there on page 4 as well. And Telecel leads cervical cancer fight. Donates advanced diagnostic equipment. Sponsors nationwide free screening. That's the details of that particular story. On Telecel, leading the fight against cervical cancer, is at the back page of the news center, newspaper. Well, let's do the Ghanaian publisher now. And Army not for aged NDC foot soldiers. That's according to Reverend Intim Fojo, who is ranking on the Defense and Interior Committee of Parliament. There, the details are on page 3 of the publisher, the Ghanaian publisher. CID invites Kolendi over Jakpa case. Whoa, you remember that Jakpa petitioned the CID over the former Attorney General. Another group also petitioned President Mahama over, Justice Kolendi and the Acting Chief Justice. Interesting, but Justice Kolendi, we are being told by the Ghanaian publisher that he's being invited by the CID over Jakpa's case. What are the details? Check page 2 of that paper. NIMOS leads major anti-Galamsey raid, and it comes with a photograph of a Chinese sitting on the floor at one of the Galamsey sites. And NPP conduct presidential ballot today. Who will occupy which position? We will get to know. And of course, we'll delve into that particular story on our top stories. Now, let's do the daily guide now. And gold reserves reach record 37 tons. Even this, that is a record. Some people are questioning, why would Ghana produce all of those gold and have only 37 tons in its reserve when other countries are having 200, 2,000 and 3,000? Well, Wontumi sweats over 25 million Ghana cedis bail. We had the lawyers talking about it, but details of that story is on page 3. NPP ad hoc committee begins flag bearer campaign monitoring. They say they will be monitoring to see if you indulge or you indulge in campaigning that slights your other candidate, they will deal with you. So that's it. Dan Lumbe's wife, children seek funeral injunction. Interesting story. There you can get the details on page, I think, 8 of the paper. Let's do the Daily Analyst now. And on the front page, Lumbe's wife is still there. Akosua Sewa goes to court, insists she's the only legal widow. Interesting development there. Jomoro chief refutes illegal mining allegations. You can get the details there. Mahama's government will recruit based on real needs, not politics. That's according to Neil Antevanderpoy there. GJA launches 29th Media Awards. Otumfo to host historic ceremony at Menchia Palace. We go to Kumasi with the awards now. And Tananya Forest Reserve, Chinese Burkinabe nationals busted over Galamsey. So some foreigners, with the aid of some greedy Ghanaians, are really causing terror on our environment. They've been arrested. Mahama's government will not restrict free speech. That's according to Kwachi Ofosu. On the back page, it says Professor Kwesi Enin confirms missing ammunition from Defense Ministry Armory. Okay, but the details are there. Amnesty International Ghana launches UG chapter, calls for total abolition of death penalty. And Atebubu Amantin MC assures resolution of perennial water crisis there. Let's do the Ghanaian Times now. On the front page of the Ghanaian Times, VIP urges equal terms for Africa in world trade. Details of that story are on page 12 of the Ghanaian Times. CIRRA framework set stage for stronger business turnaround culture, according to Dr. Justice Srimsai there. 30-year-old cobbler confesses to 15 murders in Wa. I'm sure yesterday you followed Joy News and the details that we brought you on that particular story. One person confessing that he has killed 15 people. But threaten flight safety at Sunyani Airport, Ghana Airport Company Limited is warning there. Get details of that particular story on page 12 of the Ghanaian Times. Let's do the daily gist now. And on the front page, no cash for ministers. Atoforsen locks up salaries and allocations. And someone was asking me, is this true? Get the details of this particular story on page 3. But of course, you remember that we spoke to the Minister for Labour and Employment, and he reviewed this. So at least if you have been following Joy News, you have details of that, but get details as well on page 3 of the paper. Mohammed's $12 million diplomatic appointment spark controversy. Appoints Opon Pepra Deputy High Commissioner. Read the full story on page 12. How did they get a $12 million? Quite an interesting one there. Dan Lumbe's wife sues family to halt funeral arrangements. CID to probe Justice Kolendi over alleged collusion with Jakpa in ambulance scandal trial. So get the details on page 2 of the daily gist. Now, as we've done with the papers, let's do the reigning CIMG news portal of the year, My Joy Online. What are we reporting? Now, if you go into My Joy Online, it says we are already there. Kofi Adams says Black Stars have sealed World Cup qualifications. And Sunday, I think we'll wrap it all up at the Accra Sports Stadium. It will be a party. So let's meet there on Sunday and see we celebrate in our qualification. They listened and delivered. Kofi Adams praises Black Stars fighting spirit. Parliament to resume sitting on October 21. And NPP set for balloting ahead of 2026 presidential primary today. So that is My Joy Online there. Let's do City Newsroom now. And on the front page of the City Newsroom, NPP flag bearer aspirant to ballot for positions today. And we brought you a story about this earlier. We'll be keeping an eye on this because on our top stories, we'll be dealing with it. Park Mohammed's push for swift prosecution of corrupt officials commendable, Edem Senanu says. And U.S. Department of Homeland Security now plans to deport Abrego Garcia to Ghana. And that has been a story I've seen a lot of people talk about on Facebook. Go and read the details. Abrego Garcia is ready to be deported to Ghana. A lot more people have been sharing their thought on this particular move by the government to accept that Abrego Garcia should be deported to Ghana. So that is it there. But I mean, that's an interesting one there. Let me go to my panel even before I join them on the table and get their thought. But Professor Isaac Bodi is the Dean of the Department of Accounting and Finance of UPSA. He's a solid finance man there. And then there is Kwame Asah-Asante. He is the General Secretary of the Convention People's Party, the independence winning party of Ghana. He's a lawyer as well. Gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning.
Okay. So let me start with you, Prof. Let me pick your initial comments before we delve into the details.
Yes, good morning, and good morning to your viewers as well, and good morning to my colleague. There was a news on your portal, your news portal, on the 7th, October 7th, on BOG, very simple caption. BOG commences intervention program, and they plan to spend about 1.15 billion to help stabilize the city in the forex market. In fact, when I read that story, my heart skipped a bit. I was a bit confused. I asked 3 different questions. Is it a normal practice for central banks to do this? That was the first question I asked. And the second question that I also asked was the fact that under which conditions are such interventions appropriate? And the third question that I asked, are we there yet as a country? In fact, if you go back to the first question that I asked, selling $1.15 billion forex, it's like using your last savings to impress your landlord. Bold, but broke. You know?
But Prof, when it comes to the central bank intervening in the in the market to control the city, we know that they do it, right? All governors have done it in the past. This is not new.
Yeah, so that was why I asked the first question: is it normal for central bank to engage in such activities?
And the answer is yes.
The answer is obviously yes. In fact, in orthodox monetary management, central banks are allowed to do that. And they do that on simple basis, 3 different bases. One is to smooth out volatility in exchange rates market. And again, they do that to supply liquidity when the demand pressures arise. You have no other option. And 2, when you think that you want to control support price stability. These are, I think, 3 or 4 conditions under which the central bank are allowed to do that. I also asked the third question, under which condition can we also do this?
Okay.
And mostly when we have forex reserves are strong, you can do that.
Okay.
And especially when you have your import cover moving at 4.2 between 4 to 6, you can allow to do that. Then you also have inflation targets when you're within your target range. And target range for Ghana, the medium to long term is about 8 plus or minus 2. That's within 6 and 10. One is within. You can now do that. Again, if you also look at your fiscal stance, when you think that you have your deficit not too much, you can do that. These are the conditions under which interventions are appropriate. And the question I ask, are we there yet as a country?
Okay.
If you pick the statistics, the data from BOG, clearly it tells you that our forest reserve, per the August figure we had, was about 10.7 billion. That's the forex reserve position. 10.7. So if we have 10.7 gross international reserve, and if you deduct your incumbent assets and all that, you get your net about 8.5. So what it means is that if you deduct 1.15 from your gross, which is 10.7, you are almost about 9.5 billion.
That's still substantial.
Yeah, that's substantial. But it forms about 14% of the injection that you want to do.
Okay, Prof. I'm grateful to you. This is initial, so we'll get into the details later. I'm bringing the General Secretary of the CPPS. Your initial comment.
Thank you, my brother, and good morning to your cherished listeners. I have at the top of my mind the housing situation in Ghana, especially with the recent floods. Over the past few days, I happened to travel outside Accra. My way back, I went through a lot of flooded residential areas on my way home, on the border of the central region, getting into Accra. That is the Kaswa, Weja, and other areas. Not to say it's limited to those areas. And it's a serious problem that sometimes we tend to gloss over. Statistics by the World Bank show that there's a housing deficit of 2 million units in Ghana. That's the World Bank. But the government statistics say it's 1.8 million, whichever way it is. When it rains, even the places where the houses are supposed to be in order, they are flooded. And we still have a lot of people sleeping on the streets. And if you look at page 4 of the 7-year development plan, it is stated there that when there is adequate housing, to paraphrase, social tensions go down. A lot of the social tensions we have in society, around us now, a lot of the mental issues and all that. It's because some are struggling to pay their rent, others to even own their own houses. But they are susceptible to floods. And I would want to commend Joy FM for their recent Habitat Fair. I followed it, and there were a lot of good offers there.
Okay.
And I think we as a country should take a good look at our housing system. The same 7-year development plan kicked against overdependence on cement and steel, because a lot of it has to be imported. Fortunately, we manufacture a lot of our cement now with Jata cement and others. And the 7-year development plan proposed that we depend more on swish and brick. We have to revisit that in order to make up the housing deficit, because we have a lot of people who have a lot to offer this country, but all their resources is going into payment of rent and others. Let's go back to the blueprint by the CPP in the 7-year development plan and sort out all these issues.
Thank you very much, gentlemen, Prof. and lawyer, for that. I mean, a lawyer would always find a way to bring in the CPP, you know, and its 7-year development plan, which, of course, had we followed it well, would have, according to India estimation, would have led to Ghana.
Not too late.
Well, yeah, so let's see. Maybe Ghana can go back for it now, and then we'll see. But we're also expecting to be joined by Elikem Kotoko, who is the Deputy CEO for the Forestry Commission and Deputy National Organizer of the NDC as well, for us to go into the papers. But gentlemen, something struck me on the papers, and I think that, okay, it was when we were reviewing the online.
Yeah.
The issue about the Garcia guy being brought into Ghana. When I remember when I mentioned you, your reaction was quite, you know him, you read about him.
I brought him up, I think, the last time I was on the show, about 2 weeks ago, when we were discussing the 14 deportees. I brought up the issue of Garcia, who was deported from the U.S. to a South American country. And the U.S. courts ordered for him to be brought back to the U.S. And he was taken back to the U.S. So I'm at a loss as to how somebody who has been ordered to be brought back to the U.S. by a U.S. court is now being deported to Ghana. I mean, apparently he's a young man in his 20s who is legally supposed to be in the U.S. But I'm at a loss as to why he's coming to Ghana. Well, I'm here to see more about the story. It's possible that the court has probably ruled that he can be deported to Ghana, of which we'll need to take a closer look and take it from there. But I think he's one young man who has been through a lot in his immigration issues. And I find it interesting that he end up in Ghana. Because I don't see, I mean, from even his appearance and everything, I don't see his relation to Ghana or West Africa. Because I heard that we're taking in deportees of West African or African descent and forwarding them to their country. So is he going to come to Ghana for us to now deport him back to, I've forgotten which country he was originally deported to, but one of those South American countries. So it's a very interesting case I've been following.
Now, when you go onto My Joy Online, it says, the Department of Homeland Security said it now plans to deport Kilmer Abrego Garcia to Ghana, according to a notice from the agency of his attorneys to his attorneys. DHS previously said it was planning to deport Abrego Garcia, who was wrongly deported to El Salvador, and then brought back to the U.S. to Eswatini and Uganda.
Wow.
That's where they wanted to previously take him to. Now, attorneys for Abrego Garcia will be in court on Friday for an evidentiary hearing in which government witnesses are expected to testify about the steps taken to remove him to Eswatini or elsewhere. Abrego Garcia, a Salvadoran native who had been living in Maryland with his wife and children, was deported in March to El Salvador's Secot mega prison, despite a 2019 court order barring his deportation to the country due to fear of persecution. It says Trump was, now if you go here, he was brought back to the US in June to face human smuggling charges in Tennessee, to which he has pleaded not guilty. After being released into the custody of his brother in Maryland pending trial, he was again detained by immigration authorities who indicated their intention to deport him. Last week, an immigration judge denied a motion by Abrego Garcia's attorneys to reopen his immigration case. So it means that he's being tried for human trafficking, right? Yeah. Anyway, let's see. Prof, what do you make of this?
In fact, I have no idea.
No idea about it. But I mean, isn't this Ghana showing that welcome door to accept and welcome anyone who needs a home? We've always been known as that hospitable, those hospitable people. Isn't it then in our nature to open our doors to someone who is being, even though he's been accused of human trafficking, but has not been convicted on it?
Yeah, I don't have a full story about this incident, but the point is that Ghana, this is what we are known for. We receive a lot of people. We are good to other nationalities, and that's what we are known for. Beyond Ghana, this is what often happens. But the point is that we have other people who have also moved to other jurisdictions that are also be received well by those citizens in those countries. But it shouldn't be at our cost when we do this. We should verify the backgrounds of these individuals. We go through the proper system of integration if we are to do this. But the caveat is that we should not do this at our expense. Check the backgrounds of these individuals because the long-term effects are there for us to go through. So we think that once we have not established, I don't have facts about what really happened. Ghana, we are noted for this. But the point is that whatever we do should not cost us that much.
Elikem, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Good.
Elikem is my Takrade brother, but I mean, Elikem, I mean, why is government making it look as though Ghana is helping the US on this draconian measure of deporting people, where we have opened our doors to say, okay, if you need a home for your people, bring them here?
Thank you very much, my brother. I'm not sure government is making an effort to seem to be harboring the very interests of the United States of America, but rather we are showing strength as the very black star of Africa that consistently have pushed for an agenda of a common or a single African country. And I believe that humanity also demands that there's always the need to be there for some. Not only because of the case in point, which has not been fully gone through court proceedings for him to be found guilty though, but I think that, and we are all aware that when these things happen, it is to allow for some form of integration and rehabilitation as well. And I'm not sure that this is to mean that Ghana will become whoever it is a permanent home. It could just be another transit as well. That just as you are aware of the recent ones, preparations were done for many to go to their respective countries. And so I do not think it is a reason for worry at all. I know that as a country, a sovereign state for that matter, we can say yes to certain things and again say no. And so we always trust that the people in charge of affairs have or do the appropriate background checks and come to the conclusion to allow for such.
But Belkem, I mean, when you say we want to really live up to our black star, that's for our brothers and sisters from the African continent. And those who came and they were sent from Togo, and in Nigeria. But this is from El Salvador. The Gitmo 2, are they here or they are gone?
Yeah. I don't recall. I mean,
because they got integrated into the Ghanaian society, right?
Well,
I think they even got married.
But that should even tell you. I was going to mention that, and I forgot the number, whether it was Gitmo 2 or 4. So I couldn't.
Gitmo 2.
And so the Gitmo 2 also, and that alone even tells you. After all the hue and cry over them, for instance, what has been the situation? This is not to in any way rub anything in anybody's face, but we've got a lot more challenges on our hands that are even internal and aggressive than some of these things we want to look at based on the fact that they have gotten some international recognition over whatever be the case. So there's some fear driven in us that, hey, Gitmo 2, this, that. But no fear, no cause for alarm after all. We are told they have integrated so well, even married enough in our settings. Yes, we may be looking at an African continental unity, but it doesn't rule out the fact that we are also in a global space that humanity requires of us to still see each other as one. And if not, why would we be part of the United Nations anyways? And so, yes, if there are genuine concerns over some of these things, I think that it is appropriate. But it doesn't rule out the fact that we cannot pretend to say we will not open our arms to those we can. And definitely, I am very convinced that government will not take a hasty decision into welcoming persons who may be seen to be a threat to a single soul in our own country.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much there. Let's go into the papers and start from the Daily Guide newspaper. On page 3, gold reserves reach record 37 tons. The country's gold reserves has climbed to 37.06 tons at the end of September 2025, according to the latest data from the Bank of Ghana. The central bank's report shows that the country's gold holdings have maintained a consistent upward trajectory since May 2023, when reserves stood at 8.78 tons. Over the subsequent 16 months, the figure has more than quadrupled, reflecting the bank's aggressive accumulation strategy under the Domestic Gold Purchase Program, the DGPP, and the Gold for Reserves Initiative. From June 2024 to September 2025, reserves increased by almost 14 tons, underscoring the effectiveness of the central bank's policy to use gold as a stabilizing asset in foreign reserves management. Prof, I would want to start with you because this is your forte. Now, if you look at the idea is to use gold to, stabilize the asset in foreign reserves management. And if our reserves is around 37, I mean, what can we do? What can this 37 do in stabilizing our asset? And what more can we do to even improve our situation?
In fact, when you mentioned what can we do to improve the situation of the question?
Yeah, I mean, to improve the reserves, because 37 tons. Last 2 weeks or so, we did the averages. And Algeria was doing, is it 2,000 or 3,000? We're doing 37.
I was just looking at the same data here when you mentioned the figures. In fact, before this administration took over, the position of gold holdings in terms of tons was a figure of 30.5.
Okay.
So in January, we moved to 31. So we added 1 ton. Then in the month of June, we had moved to 33 tons. And then in the month of July, we have moved to 34.4. And the figure gave me per September, I'm sure, because we had done 36 in August. And then in September, you are giving us
37.06.
You realize that we have moved from 31, or when they took over 30, all the way. So we added about 7 tons. And that comes in, what can we do with the tons, and what can we do to improve? We have a program for gold for oil. That is
good for oil.
So 2 different programs. The gold for oil, initiated by the Eswell administration. And we have the gold reserves also by this administration. I mean, it's been there for increasing our reserves. What do you do with the reserves? It helps as a buffer against, it helps increase our reserves, of course. Reserves cannot be only in gold. It could be so many other factors that we put together. But a portion of gold, because we export cocoa, we export gold and all that. So reserves, when we have more, it helps, it takes care of any external shocks. I don't know per what I stated when you were doing the review, the news. Could that be the reason why BOG now wants to, part of our reserves, reduce a portion of our reserves, just to help curb a bit inflation, volatility in a market? Could that be the reason? Because we seem to have an increase of almost about 7 tons.
Also, this is not part of the 10 billion in reserves that you mentioned, right? The gold is different.
No, reserves is part of.
So this is all part.
It forms part of our reserves. Okay. Our reserves mainly could be in the area of assets. Okay. Mainly asset, gold is part, and that. So when put together, you can have a figure of which we have been told 10.7 billion. Ghana's figure that we have. Now, out of this figure is what BOG now tells us, that they want to remove 1.1 billion to help stabilize our currency. And I gave you conditions under which we can do that, and the conditions under which we cannot do some of these things. But the point is very clear. If you have your net international reserves, and it's close to 8.3 billion, and you say you want to take out 1.1 billion to help stabilize it, that's close to about 14% of your gross. The problem we have with this initiative, and I said it's normal for BOG to do that, but the problem we have, when we have an event of shock, external shock, our country will find it difficult to survive. Okay. And now, if we have inflation is now hovering around 9.7.
Single digit.
Single digit. We are happy about it, it's fine. Although there is month-to-month pressure a bit, moving from 11.5 to 9. If you are recording such gains and you want to throw or move funds into the forest market to help stabilize the city, what in effect you are trying to do, if those injections are not sterilized, it means that plans are not there to mop up the effect that you reverse. It reverses your gains. That's where we have problem. Again, if you look at our position in terms of our fiscal position, it's a bit weak. We have GDP, debt to GDP is about almost 45%, by the latest data that we had. So our overall total deficit is, I think, negative 1.4 or so. If you want to do this, you don't have a space to take care of, sustain your salaries cost. When you throw out that money into the market and you want to mop up through your T-bills and all that, it costs you. And those costs, if you have a deficit in terms of your overall total deficit of this amount, you have a problem to take care of those costs. So what can we do with what we have? I think BOG, this approach, they should consider it again. Because when you keep doing this, you end up reversing all the gains that you made over the period of time.
Okay, all right then. But let me come to the Deputy CEO of the Forestry Commission, because, you know, some people have also raised the issue about this policy and its impact on Galamsey activities. For you as Forestry Commission, what do you think the BOG should do to ensure that, although we want to increase our gold reserves, we don't then also contribute to the increase in Galamsey activities in the country?
Yeah, thank you. I think the BOG may have very little to contribute in that regard, but it may be government as a whole. And it is in that state that the government through the sector minister, Honorable Emmanuel Amakofibua for Land and Natural Resources, has set up the NAMOS, National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat. That singular task force is mandated to nip in the bud the Galamsey menace we are all confronted with. On daily basis, they've been up and doing, trying to ensure that the scourge of this illegal mining is brought to its barest minimum, because not only for the economic reasons, but also for our own human survival. And the fact that there is a need for money, or a country needs money, or gold is of such economic value, does not mean that all activities, be it right or wrong, should be countenanced to do so. If you recall the times in Liberia, is it the blood diamond they called it? Yes.
Sierra Leone.
Sierra Leone. Yeah, it cannot be the case. And so, well, I can only say for sure that with what I see the NIMOS doing, for instance, they only require more resource and time. And this Galamsey menace will also be a thing of the past, because indeed it is a major concern for many that, okay, well, you can't tell which gold is what. And that is also another avenue. But one may also argue forcefully that if the illegality was being allowed to fester more, then it meant the 37 tons we were talking of maybe could have been maybe 38 tons or 40 tons by now. So the effort by government to also ensure that things are done right, which include the measures I put out on your platform some time ago about non-issuance of licenses into forest reserves, the excavators that are now being registered, tracked, and geofenced, the need to now repeal the proposal to repeal the LI 2462, declaring water bodies and forest reserves as security zones. But we all know that the illegality is not only at those two places, but it is even at locations that are far away from the river bodies and far away from the forest reserves. So enforcement is very key, which is another thing that one cannot take away from this government, 8-9 months in office, and putting in all the measures and effort to drive home that message that government or the president, it does not frown on mining, but frowns strongly on irresponsible and reckless mining, which is an illegality that has dire consequences, health effects, and environmental impact on you and myself sitting here.
Okay, all right. He says government is not contributing. Yeah.
Yes, I would think, of course, I defer to Prof and Elikem, but especially Prof, economics being his area. But as a layman, when it comes to economic terms, I would think that an increase in gold reserves is a good thing, because at the moment, gold is at an all-time high at $4,000 an ounce.
Yeah.
And the USA is the largest holder of gold reserves in the world, with 8,000 and something tons at the moment. And having such large gold reserves, it's actually good for the economy. But so I think they should go ahead and then increase the reserves. And also I should add that, as Elikem said, juxtaposing with the blood diamonds issue in Sierra Leone, you should also make sure that you are getting the gold from the appropriate sources, whilst at the same time not neglecting other sectors of the economy. So I think it's a good thing, because if you look at the advantages of having gold reserves, it's an inflation hedge. It contributes to monetary stability, economic independence. And the US has successfully used this over the years. And we being known as the Gold Coast, we should tap into it.
Okay.
But it should be sustainable and environmentally friendly mining, not what we have at the moment, which is putting all our lives at risk.
Okay. Let me come back to Prof before I wrap this subject up. Now, our economy needs hard cash, right? Like the dollars that we're using to stabilize the currency. Must we then be focused on keeping the gold when we can sell and bring in the hard cash to support the currency?
You always ask very interesting questions all the time. And they are very, very instructive. Why do we keep all this? Must it not sell? And then use the earnings and do it. You know, before even I answer that question, the other thing I want to consider is the fact that with all this record that we are showing to the world, what is wrong in setting up a refinery as a country to add value to the gold that we export, that raw commodity? Today we are given a very good figure, 37% record, richest record high. And it's a fact. What do we do? And then the question comes in, why do we keep all these reserves? And then we don't want to melt them and use it for our own good. It's good. But in life, whenever you receive your salary, do you consume all? And we see the country.
So many questions about that.
You consume all your salary. Prof.
You know, don't let him tell you when it's finished.
Because when he has a quick, we also have a you don't. And we operate the economy as at the micro level. But at the micro level, individual basis, the same thing that we do. Our spendings are more than our revenue. That's a normal thing we go through. So we try as much as possible to adjust, cutting down some cost to be able to have a buffer. And that's what we do as a country. How we get revenue as a result of the three categories that I mentioned, those we send outside and those we generate from inside. So when you have a situation like this, and you decide that let me throw everything out there, you know, we are also not, we don't know, the world, we are not our own. Other factors often will influence or affect economy. When we have pandemic, when we have a lockdown, when we have external shocks, this is what, as a country, we must have a buffer to be able to melt in critical situations. That's why we have a problem. When the government wants to put their hands into the buffer and decide, let me deplete some. When we don't have emergency in our country, is that a way to go? We can use other means, and other means available. We have a lot of things that we can do to be able to contain a situation as we find ourselves now. Not necessarily going into our buffer, what can help a country stabilize when we have a problem.
But when the prices are good, as you said, record high, $4,000, must we still be looking at the gold to say, well, we are shoring up the reserve for tomorrow? I mean, if we say that the reserve is, say, 37, and the thing is at record high, can't we sell part of it to boost the economy, and then we look at what we can do tomorrow? Or that's financially not sound?
Oh, no, I'm saying that touching your reserve, there's nothing wrong. But the point is that what will motivate you to touch your reserve?
Okay, we don't have an emergency now, so we don't have to touch it. Okay. Okay, all right. When the finance guru has spoken, we all agree. Lawyer, let me bring you in this. Help us with the Wontumi one. Now, delegate says it understands that the challenges with this has to do with the conditions of justification with landed property attached to the terms by both courts, making it difficult for persons to come forward and put their properties online for the accused. Yesterday, when Joy spoke to the lawyer on Media News, he said the difficulty has to do with the Land Commission, because the valuation department also has to then do the assessment and justification of the properties. And that's why, but from the point of law, must this be the reason someone, even though has been granted bail, will be in prison for over 48 hours?
No, I'm glad you brought this up, because on my way here, I was listening to Chairman Wontumi's lawyer.
Okay.
Honorable Andy Apiakubi.
Yes.
I mean, he's one of the best lawyers I've come across, a perfect gentleman. He's my mate from the law faculty.
Oh, okay.
He's very intelligent. I mean,
You went to law school together?
Law faculty, the gone.
What?
Yes, we're together.
Wow.
He came in as a mature student.
Okay.
And his son is also my mate from secondary school.
Oh, interesting. Mates with both the father and son.
And I think he's doing a good job. He's one of the lawyers that I think he's very objective. He does his job with a clear mind. He doesn't throw in all kinds of punches, and he doesn't allow his emotions. But he said something that, even though I myself am a practitioner in that area, he said something that I haven't really experienced before. It is true that sometimes when your client is granted bail, there may be some delays in having his documents processed. It is a reality. And it's not really a case of anybody being victimized. You know, a lot of our laws and our procedure is imported from the West. And we are adapting it to our indigenous circumstances as we go along. So we are leaving behind a lot of the past processes. But some of what we still practice, even the West has, or let me say the common law, the UK has let go of that. But he mentioned that when you go for the valuation, you have to part with as much as 1% of the value of the property. And so the property being 20 million, you, the accused, have to part to 200,000 Ghana cedis. And I was
this got cash.
I was like, wow. I mean, you are an accused, innocent until proven
guilty. Yeah.
And you now have to part to 200,000. We really need to take another look at our system. I'm not saying this person is to blame or that person is to blame, but we have a system where today we are, as you call in legal terms, a fly on the wall or an objective observer. But one day you could be the one caught in that net and you have to part to 200,000 Ghana cedis, just like that. I know that our criminal justice system, as much as possible, tries to protect the rights of the accused. Sometimes people complain that the system protects accused persons too much. If you look at the immigration officer's case, I think there's been some complaints that it's dragging. Yeah. But I mean, that is how the system is. Try and have a balanced look at everything. So I think as for the bill value, I think Honorable himself, he didn't make too much noise about that. But as to the processes to go through to come out.
Because yesterday he was lamenting that the state agencies were even delaying the process.
Yeah, but he said, fortunately, as of this morning, he said, fortunately, everything has gone through. He's left with Iyoko to transmit Chairman Wontumi's passport to the registrar of the court, which Iyoko says will do this morning.
Okay.
That means he'll be out by this afternoon. But it's something that we should all be concerned about, because being in such a situation, it can happen to anybody, whether they are innocent or guilty. Okay. And when we all speak out at the appropriate time, then we can have a fair trial. If you look at the footballer, is it Partey?
Yeah, Thomas Partey, yes.
He was given self-recognizance bail in his recent case. Honorable Godfrey Dame was given self-recognizance bail. We should be able to put in such systems in the long run to avoid people being deprived of their liberty, not because of any infraction on the part of the courts or the institutions, but because of the process itself, the bureaucratic nature of the process.
Let me bring in Eliken, because his office is partly associated not with the case, but with the reason why Chairman Wontumi is where he is. According to fact, I mean, we understand that his company and 3 others have been accused of causing, quote, extreme environmental destruction, including the devastation of approximately 13 hectares of land, unquote, in the Tano Nimre Forest Reserve with illegal mining activities. That's where Elikem comes in. Elikem, I mean, I'm sure you've been to the Tano Nimre, right?
Yes.
And what did you see there? I mean, looking at what you saw and where Wontumi is, what exactly is your expected end game to this particular matter?
So much destruction and so much impunity. I was trying to find the right word. Impunity and disregard for, be it humanity, law, order, and society, everything, and the environment in particular. And if you care to know, and that is not all. I mean, over the period, when we talk of Galamsey, to let the viewers appreciate the extent of damage so far, we have all these people engaged in this enterprise have damaged over 5,500 hectares of our land. That is the equivalent of over 7,500 football pitches put together.
Wow.
And that 7,500 pitches put together. And it now requires a lot of money to again reclaim that. Mind you, for the statistics, in the past, and about $35,000 thereabout is spent to reclaim a hectare. So if you have to multiply that by 5,500, you're running into millions.
About how much?
$35,000. So that is
to reclaim a hectare.
To reclaim just a hectare of land. And it is the reason why these are serious matters we should take into consideration.
But and
it is worrying.
Sorry. Yeah. The MC for Hunter West, Ebenezer Kofi did something the past week. He went into an area, saw that they had devastated the land, and got the miners to reclaim the land. Why aren't we using that when we catch you, like for example, this guy we are accusing of having done that in Tano Nimre, you say, okay, you've destroyed this number of hectares, reclaim it.
Tell you truth, that would sound the only way to a layman, like let's say you and myself.
Okay.
But again, to reclaim land is not just about covering the holes you have dug. So there's more to it about testing the soil and seeing what components, the toxicity of the soil, then recommending what can be done.
Yeah.
So we may be saying, I agree with you, at least for the start, if found there, please cover it up. But you know what happens often is that in these arrests that are done, one, most of these guys, the moment they see you, they are always already on the run. And you can usually not chase them. In fact, it is not advisable to chase them.
Yeah.
Reason being that they know the terrain very well. And if you try chasing them, you may fall into a pit.
Yes.
That is just the end of your life. So they know it themselves, which is why each time you try, they see, they immediately bolt. But you see, this damage is such that even though this matter is in court, I'm happy to have a lawyer here. I held a very strong reason until date. We recall at the time when Chairman Wontumi used to pride himself as a miner and display gold and all that, even at how do you call it? At TV, radio stations.
Yeah.
And that not enough, there were instances where the Fourth Estate, if I'm right, Manasseh's outlet, came up with information that, look, he was engaged in illegality.
That even joined his Erastus Asari.
Erastus. Kudos to Erastus for who he has become now more. And all of that. It brought some confusion even within government. When the sector minister also confirmed same, the president rather came out to say that Wontumi was not involved in any illegal mining. And that was the height of impunity for the president to be the one holding brief without allowing for any process to go through before. Meanwhile, this is the same president who doesn't seem to be abreast with things at the time. If you make mention of Aisha Wan, that he said he didn't know whether Aisha Wan was deported, but immediately his regional chairman was mentioned. He mounted the platform to tell us, so far as he was concerned. And I found some news items, a young lady also say at the time she was with NPP, it was a major issue that it brought a rift between the president and the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources at the time and nearly cost him his job. But, well, that aside, I believe strongly that if found guilty, he should be dealt with according to law. I read elsewhere also that if found guilty, a sentence of 25 to 106 years would be what to be put on him.
What does that do?
What does that
Why shouldn't we force them to reclaim the land?
That alone is not enough. But you see, all measures being put in are to serve not only as a punishment, but also as deterrent.
Yes.
If, for instance, a political figure who was very loud and known to have engaged in all of these and probably contributed to part of what we are seeing on the screens now, imagine that he is sentenced to 106 years. That is a strong warning to everybody that even the one who was part of a government has been sentenced to 106 years. So you who is an accomplice or who forms part of the tributaries, if found or culpable, will be dealt with according to law.
But why mustn't we add the reclamation to
I think I hold the same.
Because like you said, $35,000 per hectare. That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
And we are being told per the story
55,000
that this one has devastated 13 hectares of land, right? So 13 by 35,000. Then the guy spends his money, pays his money to the state. Or
yeah,
we are trying to reclaim the land.
Yeah,
he's destroyed 13 hectares. 13 by 35,000. That's your.
That alone is that's almost $500,000.
Good.
US dollars.
So you have to pay that to the state.
I agree. And it is the reason why I side with the likes of Senor Hosi with one of his strong propositions that we should put in place a policy of destroyer pays all, so that the very people who are caught and found to be culpable in these are made to pay. But you see, don't forget also that you can only now, when legal processes are kicked in motion, it means that the person is what? Not guilty until proven so. So even as you have caught him on site and you want to prosecute him, it means that in one breath, you probably do not even have the mandate to now say that I have caught you on the site in the act, fill this or do this. Even though I think in a military dispensation that actually can work easily. But I think it is not out of place to require that they do these things, which is also very good because with all these earth-moving equipment, especially the excavators that are being used in this exercise, don't forget that most often it may not even be an excavator you will need to do a reclamation. It will be a bulldozer that you will need to do that. An excavator can, but that will be at a very low pace.
Yeah.
And a bulldozer, rather, will do so. So the constraints with even asking them to do so instantly may not be. But when found guilty, I agree that part of the sentencing should include making them reclaim maybe 3 times of the damage they have done. And these things must be done. I believe relatively we are all young here. I am 43. And I get so worried that, and I make this example without any, I made the same yesterday at Public Services Commission's engagement with public services organizations in Ho yesterday, that you may be sitting somewhere and think you are not concerned. Maybe as we sit today, maybe as we are all sitting here today, your son, if you have a son who is maybe just 9 years, 10 years, is bound to marry maybe a girl who is from Takwa and in the next 15 years. Yeah. Maybe that child is born now and has been born with a defect. In the next 3 years, unfortunately passes. You will now be lamenting after 15 years that it's been 10 years now, Kweku, you are not getting married. Or that, meanwhile, you didn't care about what was happening somewhere else, forgetting that there could be a rippling effect that may have been affecting you. And that is just one leg of the many instances. The water we are drinking, the food we are eating, we are told to take a balanced diet. Now, as to whether we are taking balanced poison or not, we must all be concerned. If we are supposed to be taking fruits, how healthy is it? And so you worry sincerely. And if you are really patriotic and discerning, I do not think that the greed and wanton avarice for money could be justified enough to want to do all the damage that many are doing. And it is the major reason why one key thing we can do in addition to enforcement, policies, political will, all involvement, is advocacy. Advocacy is very key. Some may downplay its relevance and importance, but when we begin to imbibe in our children at the very early stage the negative or health impact of the environmental degradation, etc., we are cultivating in them that habit of knowing that water must always be clean, you must not pollute, you must always protect the environment. So if we're having the likes of the forest clubs just as we were having the Red Cross, the wildlife, etc. The purpose of education is to transform and impact society. So we need to relook at all of this. And largely, you agree with me that one major problem with Africa generally is that our education remains standardized rather than to be customized. Because we need to now look at it. Look, when you take, you and I are on Western region or Volta region or Eastern, the problems in Western region are not the same as what is in Greater Accra. Yeah. The problems in the Eastern region are different from what is in Ahafo region. So we must be able to now start to look at how to customize our education to suit the environment. Somebody may say that maybe in another region there are more footballers than others. If you go to Bukom, for instance, nobody can take away the fact that we can get more boxers there. So we must be able to find a way. So even in the education setup over there can have sporting activity that will focus a little more on boxing. When you go to Western region, for instance, then there will be more on environmental related issues. When you come to maybe the city like Accra or Kumasi, it may be talking more about urbanization and all of this. So it's a huge task, though. We have to start from somewhere. Have we gotten there yet? No. Have we scratched? Are we on the path? Yes. But it involves the involvement of all of us. And not only criticizing. Criticism is never anything wrong. But when we criticize, we profess solutions and genuine solutions that we all believe that we must. I was very happy, let me say, when President Mahama met with the CSOs. He made it very clear
that you're wrapping up.
Yes. Do not shy away from criticizing us. Put our feet to the fire. And that is to say that, well, I am taking from you whatever loopholes you are identifying so we can improve on them. I am not right. I'm not always right because I'm also human. And so we all need to be involved. Okay. Some have raised lastly, some have raised the concern that you are supposed to go after campaigns and all that. Well, yes, going after campaigns, I'm sure that we need to take these steps in the right direction in order to make sure that it serves as a major deterrent. Okay. Looking at the videos, it's very devastating. All right. Very, very devastating.
Thank you very much. Prof, let me bring you in here.
Yes. When I saw the headline, Wontumi sweat over
25 million.
Yeah, the problem.
But I had my heart in my mouth. You know, we learn from good practice and bad practice. Yeah. What am I learning from this? It tells me I have to live my life well.
Carefully.
If I don't, and I fall foul to the law, I have to pay such money. And me as a common teacher, how much do I have to be paid? So it's a lesson that I picked out of it. I'm sure our viewers also will pick same lesson because recent fines and bail terms now, I mean, it's becoming one too many. Huge amount of money have been slashed on individuals. But if that's the law, that is fine, because I am not a lawyer, so difficult to interpret all that. But the point is that the government should be brutal with this fight. And I was happy when the government met the CEOs. And I also added a voice that those CEOs must attend, must go. Listen to the government.
This was like a week ago.
That's a week ago, yes. Listen to the government. Maybe there could be other solutions to our problem, because this is a menace that it shouldn't take one person to fight. And that is why we've warned our politicians. They should be careful with their utterances. Because today, if you say anything against, the next day when the seat is handed over to you, and you are struggling, nobody will go back and pick the issues, what you talked about years ago, and hang you on. So it's a lesson that we need to pick. The government should be frontal, should deal with this issue. And solutions that we give to the government must also be implemented. In fact, after 1 week, I don't know whether you have seen the roadmap of the CSO meeting with the president. I have no idea. We are here to find out the roadmap in terms of implementations regarding those solutions that they gave to the government. We are here to see that. But if you go back to Wontumi's case, this is not the first time he has been picked. All right? It's not the first time. The first one was on the funds that he failed to pay. If you remember, the Yoko,
the same Yoko.
And he has also been picked again. And it's about...
This one, I think it was also related with the first one. But this one, according to the AG, his charges were supposed to be read to him. And I think he delayed in coming. So then they had to pick him up.
But is it related to environmental?
Yes, environmental. Because the first one, there were two things. The funds and environmental.
Okay.
And then environmental, they had conducted investigations and concluded. So the AG said his charges were supposed to be read to him and was supposed to come. I think that's where we are.
But I'm concerned about these particular charges, environmental destruction. Any approach to deal with this menace, I'll go for it any day. This is another charge leveled against him. And I have also watched the space for some weeks now, or months now. And I don't want to establish that relationship. I may be wrong. But anytime we have that heat in the system regarding Galamsey, then another person is picked. And when that person is picked, it becomes a discussion for the whole week. It's all about Wontumi.
Okay.
Then we go back to sleep. Then when there's another heat, another person is picked up.
But in this
that is
in
what,
this case,
that is,
but in this case, Naimos is still arrested. They were in Cape 3 Point.
Yeah, which is
a
good.
lot of
I'm saying that
yeah.
it's a noise. It's good. It serves as a deterrent to other people. It's good. But we should not fancy that joy when an individual is picked. Rather, focus on the issues, the game plan.
Okay.
What are the game plan? And let's have a solution to our problem.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much. Our time is up, so I'll say thank you very much, gentlemen, for coming on the show today. Elikem Kotoko is Deputy CEO for Forestry Commission. Lawyer Botio is the General Secretary of the NDC, is Kwame. I always want to call him Kojo.
CPP said NDC.
I always want to say Kojo, but it's Kwame Nkrumah Botio, General Secretary of the CPP, the Independence Winning Political Party.
Yes.
Right? And then Professor Bodi is Dean, Department of Accounting and Finance, UPSA. There's a story I wanted us to go into it, but our time is up. So Prof, I'm telling you, your thing is not it's faculty.
It's faculty.
Oh, it's faculty. But Prof there is not bothered by titles, right?
Oh, no.
Don't we get any closing statements?
Is that?
Normally, you give us closing statements.
So I should give you,
Yes.
Okay.
My closing statements are always non-political.
Let me give you. Yeah. But I wanted you to touch on a 30-year-old cobbler confessing to murdering 15 people in Wa. Maybe you look at it in your concluding remarks. 15 year alone, 30-year-old.
For what?
So half of his age.
Ritual.
Those killings that were happening.
Mentally
unstable. Mental unstable people and watchmen.
I think he himself he has to be checked.
Okay. Is that a concluding comment?
And also, yesterday was my oldest nephew's birthday.
Okay.
Nathaniel Chache Modiche Tete.
Tete. Okay.
He was I think he was 14.
14. Okay.
To wish him a happy.
Okay. All right. Happy birthday to him. Prof, maybe you want to take a bite. Your last concluding remarks.
I don't have any conclusion.
Okay.
Just to tell viewers that your forms at UPSA is ready. So.
Prof.
It's what?
Prof, you don't know what this means to me. That I get to go back and learn.
The forms. I mean, all the time he wants to come to UPSA.
Oh, yes. I want to further. Prof says I have to do PhD. I say, yes, let's give it a try. Why not? If I'm called Samuel Kojobra's PhD, right? Yeah, thank you very much. Elegant.
Yeah, I'm sad to hear the news about the gentleman who has killed how many people over?
15, he's 30 years old.
But he has to be checked.
Yeah, he needs to be checked.
But I don't think.
We need to build a society that to be there for each other, especially when these things don't just happen in vacuum. There may be some information, intel somebody may have seen but just felt unconcerned, and we've allowed for these things to go on. I feel sad here and things of this nature, and not the best. But, well, the last thing I would just want to say is that we're making significant inroads in the fight against Galamsey. 9 forest reserves that were completely breached, that were no-go areas for at the time, have now been reclaimed, and that is a significant achievement. However, we need to find ways to make sure we sustain this, and sustenance of this also comes at a cost. I am happy to say that at the last meeting with the finance minister, he didn't say a word about whatever needs to go to NIMOS. And even though you still would have been conservative at the time, then you would have wished that, if we knew, then we should have But it's a step in the right direction. And I think that there's a lot more that will be done in the subsequent days.
All right, okay. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Let me say a special birthday to you, my old schoolmate, Kimball, Preparatory School in Agran Kwanta. This guy by name Nicholas Kobna, popularly known as Akufo-Addo. They use his height to call him Akufo-Addo. So Nicholas Kobna, happy birthday to you. You are in Penyasa. Nyamli ira dia na don't want to know iyo kezire. Na mo de wa odai. Many are going to mark you fufu. Na mo mi said fufu ya sakra from na madu fufu e kaka mavamo. Enti happy birthday to you, Nicholas Kobna ma wo Penyasa. Na from Penyasa memu a na talk cook be na be share na bono odia. So Nicholas Kobna, nyamli don't want to know na iyo kezire. We'll take a break here. We'll be back with more Tuesday. All right, so welcome back to the AM show here on the Joy News channel, wherever you are. This is where we need to start throwing an eye on what's happening today at the NPP headquarters, because it is today that the party says it is balloting for its presidential aspirant ahead of its presidential primaries in January 2026. Who will occupy where? What story really will the balloting tell? We'll be joined on the line by Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante. He is a political scientist with the University of Ghana, Legon. Prof, I'm grateful to you. Doc, grateful to you for joining. Now, I mean, what story or what you want expectation of the balloting today, and what will the positioning mean to the various aspirants?
Good morning, Kojo, and good morning to our viewers. It's business as usual. Balloting, you see the excitement, you see people, they want to be at the top position and the rest of them. But they don't mean much. Yes, wherever one is placed doesn't mean much. It depends upon the candidate, your message, and your strategy, in addition to your resources that can help you to galvanize all the support you need in order to be able to crown victorious. On that score, it is important to know that even if you are put on the first position, you cannot do without what I have already mentioned. So there are a lot that you need to put in if you want to be the leader in the contest. So there's a lot in there.
Okay. I mean, so does it really matter where you are placed on the ballot paper in this particular primaries?
No, it doesn't matter at all. We have seen in history that people were placed last and they emerge tops.
But that's easier for you to say Asiaho or Esro.
Yeah, any position. Yeah, people will come out with all manner of, justification, statement to point that position is nothing but the best. Oh, third position is nothing but what? Among Ghanaians, especially accounts, the oracle is consulted at least 3 times.
Yeah.
They will give you that interpretation. Oh, second, he has been selected already. It's just a matter of time and then he's in there. The 4th position, they will come out with all manner of things. But does it win you the seat? No. Does it win you the contest? No. It's a whole lot of other factors that will influence that. So it doesn't really matter. For marketing purposes, yes, you can shout and that you are here and that we believe that everybody has agreed that you are number 1 and all that. But is that the case? Remember, if that is the case, then we are in difficulty. It means that voters are not considering issues, but rather certain ephemeral things which do not bother or do not have any effect on our lives. Are we saying that the position you will occupy if you occupy that position, it determines how you're going to perform. No, doesn't matter the position you occupy. If you want to say that, yes, I occupy number one position, for that matter, I'll be the number one among the contestants if given the nod to be able to address the problems of this country. Is that the case? It is not. So you realize that for this contest, if I were one of them, I'll go and sleep. Whatever you put me, I'll just come and work. The real story is out there. How you organize yourself, how you marshal resources, how you campaign, which message will resonate with the people who are going to elect you. That is the crust of the matter.
Well, recently what comes to mind is the NDC's position on the ballot, right? I think there were 8 or so, and breaking the 8
yes.
came. They then took over the breaking the 8 something. So where you are, probably like you've analyzed, may probably not do the trick for you when the time comes. So for those representatives of these presidential candidates who are going into the balloting room today, what must occupy their thinking? Because really, if you say position does not matter, what should they be thinking about as they go into ballot today?
Oh, you want to see that the process that they've set in motion will come to its logical conclusion without an incident. That is all there is to it. And that you will, at the end of the day, you will be able to know that your candidate is placed at this position and that you are going out there to inform voters that if you are looking for Mr. A, this is his position and we want you to what? Support him by voting for him. That is all. They are there to get these basics right and then go to town and campaign with that. And my candidate is number 3. My candidate is number 2. Yeah, whatever justification are nothing but what? Political communication gimmicks. All right. It doesn't influence anybody because I want to hear any particular, delegate saying that I voted for this person because he's number 1. Then, of course, our democracy will have a difficulty. We need to work at it. Are there issues? The thing that the person says that the position the person is occupying on the, the ballot is what we're going to address the problems of the party and by extension the country. If we vote on that line, and I'm afraid we are not rational voters, and I'm afraid our democracy has a difficulty.
Usually after balloting, all the candidates come out to speak on where they are placed. From where you sit, from how you know the party NPP, what's your own expectations of post the balloting this morning or today?
Obviously, you are going to see intense campaigning, and people are going to announce to the electorate, for that matter, the delegates, that this is the position of the candidate. So please don't make a mistake when you are voting on that day. The person is number 3. Just stamp for him and we are good to go. We are going to, campaign is going to be intensified. Not only that, we are now going to see a lot of exposés, even though the party has said that they have to approach it in a certain manner that will not incur the wrath of the party machinery and all that. I can tell you without fear of contradiction that, look, that will fall on deaf ears. People will, the way they've started, I have no doubt in my mind that it's going to be intensified because the committee, the ad hoc committee has not been able to draw the line as to what constitutes, an offense in this regard. And the sanctions accompanying that offense. So it is free for all. And over the years, the party has not mastered courage to be able to deal with people who flout party rules and regulations. So people will see it as well business as usual. For the cameras, they will pretend to be telling you that, yes, we abide by the rules of the game and all that. But they go and hide behind those who sit on social media and then spew venom and, throw spanners in the work of the committee. So the committee is in for a long haul of what? Incident, and they should brace themselves for that. I don't wish them badly, but I, as a scholar and a student of this area, this is what I need to bring to the attention.
Yesterday on Top Story, I spoke to Dr. Adoma Kukisi, who speaks for the Brian Achampon team, and he was blunt that if the committee wants to be taken serious, then people like Abronye and Wontumi should be taken on for their utterances, and they should be used as a scapegoat. Do you agree that the committee should do that to really send a message out there that we really mean business and not just, as you say, as much ado about nothing?
That would be a difficult thing to do by the party because they've sat down for people to go on rampage, so to speak, without sanction. Now you are saying that from now onwards, there's a committee, and the committee is going to make sure that there is what? Decorum, there is what? Civility in the way people campaign. So even though they don't have any rules guiding this, you want to believe that the starting point is now. So what has happened has happened. You can't go back and then bring people. Otherwise, in fact, they will be inundated with cases that they will not be able to handle it. Because there are a lot of people who have committed a lot of breaches. And can they muster the courage to deal with all of them? What is even ahead of them is difficult for them to manage in terms of what? The metrics for measuring, in terms of sanctions that accompany what the rules of the engagement, and then obviously certain specific situations that will come to bear on the process. So already their hands are full, and they will not be able to venture into that sphere of difficulty. So I believe that they cannot go back. If they want to go back, they will open themselves up for things that they cannot contain.
From what you've seen so far, and your own experience as a political watcher, as a journalist that has covered elections in this country over the years, does the NPP in its current state come across as a party that can really unite after their presidential primaries and march on to the 2028 elections with a united front?
Oh, I have no doubt in my mind that whatever it is now as a problem is a storm in a teacup. It can be addressed head on. Yes. Oh, yes. Because you see, political parties, for that matter, the dominant ones, NDC, NPP, they are so entrenched in the system that some of these things will not be able to bring them to their needs. No. It's going to ruffle feathers, that we know. It's going to create some difficulty. But at the end of the day, the party will surmount all that. I can assure you. If it happens in NDC, it can also be dealt with. Because remember, any effort at making sure that you tighten the noose and put your house in order will give you power. So why would they want to risk that? The two dominant parties, they know that if NDC is in office, the little effort that they put in, they can also get power because that is the situation. They will not sit down to allow those things to derail the process so as to undermine their fortunes. No. It's going to be difficult, but there's always a way out for political parties. Look at the turbulent era that NPP went through before Nana Akufo-Addo became president and all that.
Yeah.
One would have thought that they were not going to even gain power. But we saw events took a different turn and they won massively. It tells you that the machinery of political parties, their structures, the uniting factor that put all of them together, that becomes so paramount, and that becomes the driver of the whole process. So at the end of the day, people are ready to sacrifice their personal interests and all that and make sure that they win power. And remember, power is the sweetest thing in the area of what? Any political space. Once you get it, you can induce obedience and you can let people do your bidding. So they will look for power, and whatever differences, they will deal with it later. So I can assure you, if it happens in NDC, NPP, it's just nothing but what? A storm in a teacup. It can be, dealt with in no time.
But people say the Alan Chairman breakaway really took away something from the NPP. If they do not handle matters well and there's another breakaway from this primaries, that would deal to them a very big blow, which would take some time to recover.
Oh, that is a fact. That you see, politics is a game of numbers. So even if you lose one person, it is significant. Though you see at something small. But in terms of the political calculation, it means a lot. Particularly so when you are looking at even parliamentary election, which is a hinge on the first past the post system. One vote can send somebody to parliament. All right. So you realize that you don't have to take chances. It is true that Alan's exit caused them a lot. Even though at the beginning they were bragging, they were attacking him that his absence will not cause anything. But that can be understood because they cannot come out and bemoan about the fact that Alan has left the party and is going to cause them. They will put up a certain, spirited performance and tell you that you are indispensable, you are not indispensable, and that we can forge ahead and all that. But the reality is that Alan was such a towering personality within the party, and from where he comes from, the two regions, Asante and Central, they are very important in Ghanaian politics. And that calculation slipped through their fingers, and they thought that it was something light. And we all saw the effect in the election, because when Alan left out, I said that he was not going to win, and that is true, because the Ghana political system revolves around two parties. It's a two-party system, which means that the two dominant parties are those who have what it takes to win power and form government, exclusive to themselves. Any other parties are dwarf parties, or what Huntington will call three-quarter parties. All right, they don't mean much. They just accompany people to the program, and then they will go sleep because they are not visible and all that. So, Alan, I said that apart from the fact that he will not win, he can really cause them a fortune. And you saw that his performance took away a number of votes and all that. The story is too clear for me to recount here. But going forward, I'm not sure the party want to repeat this type of incident, and so that somebody can break away and all that. That means that they should find a common ground of uniting themselves. Okay. Whatever differences there is, they should be able to address it head on. They should be bold, and they should be able to ensure that all the bottlenecks within the party have been addressed. Otherwise, they are going to fight battles outside and within the party, and that will not bode well for a party that is desperately looking for power. I look forward to seeing them going by the reports as they commission the researchers to do for them, and things that divide them. Okay. I'm sure they are aware of it. They should be working at that. If you look at the tempo, the political tempo within the party now, in terms of intemperate language and all that, even though it's not the best of shape this time, compared to the last primary that they conducted, 2024, this is much, it has, the tempo has come down a little bit. Okay. But we want zero, effects, so that people will campaign based on issues. People will confront people with figures and facts, and that they will also work within the rules of the game. Remember, any wrong message, any incriminating message that you churn out against your opponent, obviously will fall on the lap of the opposition, of the party in government, which we use as the building block, the raw materials for campaign. People like us who have studied political communication, that's what we chance. When we chance upon them, we make capital with it, and then take them to political parties who can depend on them and then get power. After all, politics is who gets what, when, and how. It doesn't matter how you win power, provided you work yourself within the confines of the law. All that you need is power. the ability to induce obedience.
Okay, Doc, I'm grateful to you for your time this morning. Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante is a political scientist with the University of Ghana. You heard him there. Let me bring in another lecturer from the University of Ghana, Professor Ezekiel Norte. He is a statistician joining us with numbers. Prof, I'm grateful to you for joining here. Prof, I mean, let's look at the numbers. What does the numbers say in whose favor in the run-up to this presidential primaries of the NPP?
Good morning to your cherished listeners. Yeah, the numbers are actually pointing to just a two-horse race.
Okay.
A two-horse race, yeah. I think the Bawumia camp and the Kennedy Ajipong camp. The rest hasn't shown much, but you know, as for delegates, they speak when when something changes hands. So I don't know what will happen, but from information gathered so far, it looks like it's just going to be a two-horse race. Yeah.
But this thing about delegates is something is changing hands for them to speak. How do we break it, really?
It's going to be a bit difficult to break it because that is what they understand. Probably the only possible way to break it is to expand the delegate system such that it will be so huge that you might not get the funds to grease their palms. Yeah. Other than that, if it continues to be like this, though there has been some expansion, the expansion really hadn't been something that the politician will not be able to support, yeah, financially. So they still do that. I think when they increase or expand the delegate system to take care of a larger number of the delegates, I think it will be more appropriate. Yeah, it will be more appropriate.
Okay. Prof, I'm grateful for sharing your thought with us this morning. Professor Ezekiel Norte is a statistician with the University of Ghana. We'll take a break here. We'll be back with more talking about NIMOS and its operations against Galamsey. You'll stay with us here on AM Show. Back to the AM show. Time for us to delve into another of our big stories and look at the NIMOS and its impact on the fight against Galamsey. Now, you've seen on the papers, the Ghanaian publisher say NIMOS leads major anti-Galamsey raid, and it says in a dramatic and uncompromising sweep against the forces destroying Ghana's environment, the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat, NIMOS, task force has struck hard, arresting foreign nationals, dismantling illegal mining camps, and sending a resounding message that the era of impunity in the Galamsey trade is ending. We've been joined by Pakwesi Shandov, who is a spokesperson at the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources. Pakwesi, grateful for joining us here. So, I mean, we read that NIMOS is doing a lot of arrest and a lot of operations on on Galamsey side. Where have they been in the past week, and what has been the story like? Where do we expect them to be now?
Brace, good morning to your very good self and to the rest of our listeners who are connected to this all-important conversation. I want to start from the last part of your question, the question about where the NIMOS task force are going or they will be now. When it comes to the operations and the movements of NIMOS, we always want to keep it under wraps because, first of all, as their mandates would prescribe, their activities are intelligence-led And second and most importantly, we also do not want to be risking failed swoops where the illegal miners will have foreknowledge of their arrival and therefore they would even so even though as I speak to you now they are embarking on a very important assignment at the moment. I think of security I would want to withhold that information, but just this morning, there is a fresh update that is a continuation of what we had yesterday. To you, yesterday, for example, there was an operation at Cape 3 Point Forest Reserve. I want to believe that perhaps you are familiar with that particular enclave in the Ahanta West municipality. It was a very successful operation. A total of 28 young men involved deeply in illegal mining were immediately arrested. As I speak to you, they've all been handed over to the district police in that particular enclave. It's a story that I'm sure would circulate from this morning all the way to the afternoon and the rest of the day. In fact, there's another operation whose update is likely to come today. So this, in addition to the arrest of the Chinese yesterday and the one prior to that, and then perhaps per my take and analysis, the biggest one within the week has been the Abosso strike, the one that happened at the Prisiahuni Valley district. That, of course, also rounded up hundreds of illegal miners and other miscreants who were also engaging in other forms of illegality. So altogether, there is evidence to the fact that NIMOS is very much on the ground, doing so much. Yes, it has not been a smooth sail. There have been a couple of difficulties here and there, but collectively and comprehensively, there is the new era of momentum. And that is why here at the ministry, we are certain that the fight against illegal mining very soon will be a thing of the past. I just want to chip in this before the conversation continues. Whenever we effect arrest of this nature, the obvious question that pops up is that, well, you are only tackling the small boys, as the president would put it. You are only grabbing the ground troops. You are not going after the kingpins because it is the kingpins who are the actual instigators and the facilitators. So why are you leaving the financiers and you are only going after the small boys who really are not the big fishes in the arena? The truth of the matter is that Galamsey is a very complex enterprise, and most of the big fishes, of course, are connected to the corridors of power. Some of them have various degrees of influence, even outside of Ghana and even the continent and all of that. It's a very complex web. So if you want to deal with the kingpins, the protocol or the duration or the strategy, of course, will be lengthier, if not more complicated. The good news, however, is that as of just yesterday, we were able to, make some inroads with the strategies to apprehending them. Because you remember that even the Deputy CEO of the Forestry Commission had cause to mention the other day that some of the small boys have taken blood oaths not to disclose those who actually sponsor and finance them. But right now, there is a mechanism to ensure that every single kingpin would also be named. And so that one is also a matter of time. And so I'm just saying that to top up the progress that we have made so far. And so it's not as though we are only focusing on the little fishes and then allowing the big sharks to rather grow and then produce more smaller fishes. As we progress, we'll name all of them, we'll grab all of them, and we'll prosecute everybody who is involved in this environmental destruction.
So what was the total number of people who have been arrested so far?
Okay, so I want to start from this morning. This morning, like I said, we've been able to arrest 28 persons have been arrested.
Is it the Cape 3.1?
Yes, the Cape
that was yesterday, huh?
Yeah, that was yesterday. Now, in the Abosso exercise, that was some 3 days ago, we rounded up a total of 100 people. But it is when we were done filtering the numbers, we realized that not all of them necessarily were illegal miners.
Okay.
Because I think I've earlier explained on this platform, in that particular enclave, there are gamblers, there are drug dealers, there are, all forms of, criminals have taken a home had taken a home in that particular place. So after we had done the filtering, of course, but I'm going to deal with all of them anyway. But after we have done the filtering, the 100 dropped a little. So we will be able to give confirmation on that, hopefully by close of day. Because after you are done the filtering, you realize that some of them actually come to the camp to come and smoke, to come and buy drugs, and then they go. Some come to come and gamble, and then they move away. Some come and trade in other illegalities, and then they vanish after the period. So you cannot add them to the bracket of illegal miners. But by close of day, hopefully, we'll be able to supply the numbers. Now, if you add the arrest of the Chinese as well to the 28th this morning, and then let's say presumptively they're almost perhaps maybe 70 or 80 today, we are looking at very good numbers. So in all, perhaps something above 100. Today we'll provide the full details so that we don't do any form of speculation whatsoever. Indeed, even yesterday, I mean, beyond the Chinese, there was also another operation. Sometimes during the investigative process, you want to be fair, but you also want to be very fair as well, so that you do not unduly prosecute anybody. Even in one of the operations yesterday, forgive me, the location has skipped me a little. A couple of people were also arrested. They were the ones whose faces were muddied and all of that. I'm sure we saw the pictures around. That one was in excess of 50. I forgot to add that one. That one was in excess of 50. So, Brace, altogether, the numbers basically for now, let us exceed 100. But today, it is an assurance that will provide the specific details. The reason sometimes we have a challenge providing the details is because of the filtering and the sorting. Some of them are just sometimes escorts. If I say escorts, they just come to the place, they are walking, but you go.
Okay. So for those who will confirm that they are actual Galamseyers, what happens?
Right. No, so for those who would be confirmed, in fact, for the Chinese national, for example, when we confirmed them yesterday, they were brought to the NIMOS headquarters here in Accra, and they already have been lined up for prosecution. For those that we are going to subsequently confirm, now, the moment you are confirmed, the prosecution begins. In fact, if at this point we had been able to pass the proposition on cabinet table for the creation of the specialized tribunals, I'm sure by this time all of them would have been, prosecuted. Verdicts would have been given already. What government is now doing is that we want to now expedite the prosecution process, and so that's why the AG said that now they are going to be fast-track courts, tribunals that would promptly and immediately accelerate Galamsey issues. Now we have not gotten there because yes, that proposition is still being exhausted through the regular processes. And so for now, what we can do is to hasten the regular process we have. And so believe you me, latest by next week thereabout, the prosecutions should begin, and then we should start, jailing those who have to be jailed, because we are in very serious times as of now.
But those who were arrested earlier, what is happening to their prosecution also?
Okay, so you have to, like I said, it is the filtering process is the most important process.
No, I'm not talking about those who were arrested last week. I mean, they've been arrested in the months prior, right? And I'm asking, what is the update on those arrests also?
Okay, so past arrests that have been effected. When the Attorney General met with the CSOs last week, I think he provided an update to a response to that question. I'll basically reiterate what he said. So all of them have been filed. I mean, all of their dockets have been prepared. But again, because we do not have momentarily a specialized outfits to do with, the illegal mining offenses, sometimes the processing is a little bit difficult. And generally, that is the nature of the, if you like, the justice system here in Ghana. But we are given, I'm sure maybe I have the clearance to disclose this. There's been a meeting about the delay in the prosecutions, and we have given ourselves to hopefully the end of this particular month, so that we clear all of the backlogs. What personally, again, I am hoping is that even before the end of this month, we would have, exhausted the processes for the creation of the fast-track courts. Because if we have created them, there wouldn't even be a time where anybody will ask the question of the backlog of, offenders who have been arrested. It is just that the process is sometimes a bit very, 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 cumbersome in terms of the speed. It's not as hasty, as prompt as you would want it, just because of the nature of our justice system. But long and short of it is that hopefully by the end of this month, we won't have any backlogs again. And also, in addition to that, the fast-track courts and structures would have been established so that the moment somebody is arrested, immediately across board, the person is processed, and then in a matter of 2, 3, 4 days, the person is jailed if the person is found to be truly guilty and offending the laws of the country environmentally.
Okay. Pakwesi, I'm grateful to you for this morning.
Pleasure.
Pakwesi Shandov is a media relations officer with the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources. Well, let us all play our part in this fight against Galamsey. It's just dealing too much to our environment. So play your part wherever you are. And on this basis is the reason we are putting a question to the president. When are we going to see the particular action? 9 months is working. But really, we need more of those actions because the devastating effect to our environment is enormous. Today, I am not able to eat vegetables from anywhere. I don't even try it because of the sort of information we've been given. So, dear Mahama, what's happening?
I've been reluctant to implement a state of emergency in the Galamsey fight.
Central region,
We've not exhausted the powers we even have.
Dear Mahama, while you hesitate,
pure water, 4, no they
Using this water when I'm menstruating is a bit difficult for me.
It's going to be an outbreak of cholera. And it has even started.
water treatment plants collapsing under heavy silt.
We must ban it.
So we all drink.
We should ban it. When Ghanaians have voted for me, I will take that responsibility.
Dear Mahama, the time has come to take responsibility.
Mr. President, Mr. President, Mr. President, Mr. President.
So, Mr. President.
President John Dramani Mahama.
Put a stop to illegal mining.
Dear Mahama, Stop Galamsey, a joy news series.
Welcome back to the show. I mean, earlier I told you there were going to be some drive-bys, and one of them has to do with learning and development. Now, as Africa, the world's youngest continent, or the continent with the youngest population, strives to equip its people for the future. A spotlight is turning toward how it learns, works, and also adapts. Now, with more than 60% of Africans under the age of 25, that's according to the World Economic Forum 2023, building relevant, inclusive, and tech-driven learning systems has become both a moral and economic imperative. To accelerate this transformation, the Learning and Development L&D Africa 2025 conference will convene educators, policymakers, innovators, learning and development enthusiasts, including you, and corporate leaders from across the continent and beyond. The 3-day hybrid event will take place in Nairobi, Kenya, from October 15 to 17, 2025, under the theme Bridging the Gap, Innovative Learning for Africa. November 15 to 17. We're very close to, the date, but will you be there? And so joining me now is Margaret Jackson, MJ. She is managing partner for Rainbow Consults and also the convener of the Learning and Development conference.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning, Kujo. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
It's a pleasure to have you because it's good that when you talk to, it's good you talk to those, people who challenge you to up your game, Now, after today, I would aim of crossing you. And so it's good that you talk to people like you.
Our aim is to challenge people, to push them, because there's so much we can do. We have so much potential in us. We have no idea.
So the focus of this conference is to challenge the young people of Africa.
Yes, and even the old people. Now I talk about reverse mentorship. We grew up thinking it is only the elderly who mentor the young ones. But because of technology, because of the way the world is going, we also need reverse mentorship. I need the young ones to mentor.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's reverse mentorship now.
So what led you to set up such a platform?
I say I'm one of the fortunate ones. I was introduced to L&D, Learning and Development, early on by the World Bank.
Okay.
So I'm a master trainer for the International Finance Corporation, arm of the World Bank. And the World Bank, IFC took me around the continent. And I've trained a lot of trainers on the continent. But whilst I was going around, realized that, IFC has this framework. ILO has this framework. So it looks, and there are different organizations that have frameworks. So it looked like we were working in silos.
Okay.
And some were also solo. Some of the learning and development professionals didn't belong to any group. So I realized there was a gap.
Okay.
You quoted it. We all know it. It's been said over and over again. We are the youngest continent. We have so much potential. And it is our duty as learning and development professionals to challenge people, to build skills. So we had to come together. We had to find a common ground where we would talk, challenge each other, learn from each other, so that we'll be able to help Africa find its way.
So it means this is a convergence of development and learning enthusiasts.
Yeah.
To think about how we can prepare for the next, the next decade or two of
all
the phase
the
of
figures
Africa.
we keep hearing, 2030, by 2030,
we'll do this.
There should be about, Africa could create 3 million jobs, green jobs. That is by FSD. You read a lot of literature, but how, and I love it when I hear could. It doesn't say will, it says could. So between the could and we have created, you find the learning and development professionals. We have a lot of work to do. We have to reskill people, we have to upskill people.
Okay.
But we have to sharpen ourselves before we can. When you're on a plane, they say, when there's an emergency, wear your
nose mask,
your oxygen mask before you help others. We need to help ourselves before we can help all others. We need to sharpen our tools. We need to sharpen our skills.
Okay.
But it is said that iron sharpeneth
iron. Yeah.
Let me say this in Tree. Yes, unko be a former. So when we converge, when we start networking, when we start talking about others on the same continent, not even elsewhere, you realize that there's so much to be learned from each other. We can't reinvent the wheel. We can only make it better.
Okay.
And that doesn't mean we are not inviting others from other continents to also speak. We believe in best practice. I remember the first one we held, we said raising the bar. So we want to hear from others. We want to compare notes with each other and with others on the various continents as well.
This will be such a sweet conference to be part of. What should participants expect, really?
It's about practical skills, It's about workshops. It's about success stories. So participants will go away with tools, strategies, and You see, they say your network is your net worth. You know, it sounds like, oh, we say it all the time, it's cliche. But I used my network. When I wanted to form this L&D, bring the professionals together, who did I call on? The facilitators that I have trained, my fellow master trainers, they were my network. And they made it happen. One person cannot do this.
No.
It is not the work for one person. As we say in Ghana, you're small boys. So I had to work with others. You know. So come in there, you are going to go away with tools, strategies, your L&D strategies. You will hear success stories. You will also go away empowered because you will come across like-minded persons that you can call on when you're doing something in your organization and you realize I need help. You can call that person to say, hey, how did you do that? Who can you connect me with?
I love the networking.
Yeah.
That would be
networking, Kojo. You should be there. You know, everybody is an L&D.
Yeah, and especially in the space we work in.
Yes.
Yeah.
You should be.
And actually, I did something in development anyway.
Oh, so you should join us. You know, years back, you would see stickers on people's cars. If you can read this, thank your teacher.
Thank you, teacher, yeah.
Now I say, if you can do this, thank your teacher.
Okay.
It's about skills now. We want the young people to go away with skills. So we are going to talk about, you see, Africa shouldn't be playing catch-up. We should be leapfrogging. You know, it's about that. So we should find home-based solutions to our problems, to our challenges. We can do it.
So that's where I was coming to. That we usually do copy and paste.
Oh, no.
And we've said that we need to find African solutions to African problems. And again, we say that talk is too much. How different would this conference be to then curate this whole thing about the African solution to African demanding challenges?
I'm an Achimuman, so I like speaking Chi, so pardon me. But years back, I heard Dr. Yamson, he's Dr. Yamson now.
Yeah, Dr. Yamson.
He said we were not producing graduates that were ready
for the market.
For the market. You see, this is where we sit.
Okay.
As learning and development professionals, this is where we sit. We do serious performance needs assessment. And you see, most of the time, because we are not educated, we employ content experts to come train our staff. There's a difference between a content expert and an L&D professional.
Okay.
I come across a lot of people who say, oh, Margaret, you are into L&D. Oh, I'm going on retirement. I'm also going into training. I just smile. Because you're going to school. To be able to break down concepts, to be able to build skills, you have to be educated for that. And this is what we want to tell Ghanaians and Africa. That sometimes people say, I brought in trainers, but my staff are still doing the same things. They will. Did you do a performance needs assessment?
Okay.
People are not performing, so do a performance needs assessment. Out of the performance needs assessment, you can tease out training needs. Because, you see, when people are not performing, it doesn't necessarily mean they need training. If you bring professionals like us, we can tell you this has nothing to do with training. Maybe they need a job aid. Maybe buy that system. You know? It is only when we realize that there's a training need that we design curricula, design training experiences.
You didn't just do it for doing sake.
We don't do for doing sake.
Okay.
And then we end with even the evaluation.
Okay.
Return on investment.
Okay. So I'm motivated to be part of this. How do I join the conference all the way in Kenya?
Oh, go to Learning and Development Africa Conference website. You just go to Google and type L&D Africa.
Okay.
Website. It will take you there. It's now our banner. It's there, clear. If you can't join us in Nairobi because it is too late, there's also, we said it's hybrid. So we are meeting in Nairobi and on Zoom.
Yeah. Okay.
So you can also pay for the online version to join.
Okay.
Because you walk away with skills. Success stories. We are showcasing Africans who are doing amazing things on the continent.
Is it expensive to join?
To join?
To join the conference.
The conference?
Yeah.
Oh, $350 USD.
Oh, that's affordable.
You are there.
Okay.
3 days, though.
Okay.
Picking up skills.
Yeah.
Network.
Yeah.
Oh, strategies.
All right.
Is even, you know, because we want to have impact.
Okay. I wish you all the best. And I know that a lot of people will be part of this training. Your final words to the L&D community in Africa. Just 30 seconds. Then we're
just 30 seconds?
Yes.
Hey, teacher, you know me 30 seconds.
I'm
saying you are not alone. To the L&D professionals, you are not alone. We can build Africa together. Let's connect, let's collaborate, and let's champion learning in Africa. We are not playing catch up anymore. Leapfrog. See you in Nairobi.
Okay, so join the trip, join the boat, join the flight to Nairobi, and let us all educate ourselves. Thank you very much, Margaret Jackson, MJ, for coming through.
How did you know my friends call me MJ?
Margaret M. Jackson J. MJ.
Thank you so
she is
much.
managing partner of the Rainbow Consort there, and also the convener of the L&D conference. Thank you. Now, today is a special day, right? It's a day in which some of our friends are being called to the bar. So people like Joseph Akable, congrats to you, brother. You're being called to the bar today. It's such an excellent period of your life. And then Obrimpon Himadechi of Upper Disco is also being called to the bar. Nana, in Nadi Remo Buffalo to the bar, to the Ghanaian bar, idea. You've tried. Because in came men baby but you've done it. Even though at the Brumbly, I will zoom at the Uncle they are calling you to the bar and the next chapter of you would help to propel and forward. When we have a paramount chief like Ozao, being a lawyer, congrats to you massively on behalf of and congrats to you. Wow, fantastic lawyer. Obrimpon Himadechi of Upper Disco. Congrats to you on your call to the bar today. We're taking a quick break. We'll be back with more Tuesday. To the show, we need to do this. It's Friday, right? So sometimes when it's getting a bit soft, it's good. It starts the weekend well for us. So let's do this. Now there's jazz at Lincoln Center Orchestra with Wynton Marsalis, and this is a popular, person in the jazz world who's in Ghana, together with his team. And I've been joined in the studio by a Ghanaian-born, US-based Woody Brymer. He's a producer, a folklorist, and Jemba Fola. Hi, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
And thanks for having you here.
I'm happy to be back.
To Ghana, the motherland.
No, just my house.
Your house?
That's my house. Yeah, not the whole motherland, just my house.
Okay. And Jemba, Woody Brymer is here with Alexa Tarantino, saxophonist with the Jazz at Lincoln Center Orchestra. Hi, Alexa.
Hi. Good morning.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Can you find me a tea?
Not today.
Not today. Alexa, play me a music.
Yes, that I can do. That I can definitely do.
Okay.
But I like to tell people, I was here before that Alexa.
Anyway, but I just put two and two together what you said.
Yeah.
Oh, we lost you there.
You lost me there.
Anyway, Woody, so what's happening today? If we say, is Wynton is in town?
He's here. And Winton is here, preparing for tonight. Today and tomorrow, because we're playing 2 nights at Plus 233.
Okay.
We're doing movements from the new pieces that Winton and I composed called Afro.
Okay.
And basically, essentially, it's a piece that brings the diaspora together fully through the voice of jazz. But truly taking it to where it's been, where it is, and where it will go. You know, and that's the interesting thing about music is that with this piece is that it really transcends the ideas that both narratives are separate and then added when both narratives are actually one. You just have to know how to speak and understand both voices. If not, then it's like they're playing this, and then I bring this. Instead of us understanding both narratives and being able to speak in both vernaculars to play the music that needs to be played. So it's a very special, very sophisticated music. But
So it goes together.
Yes.
So Alexa, I mean, is that all you're doing here? And why Ghana, really? All of other places, why Ghana? Why 233?
Well, we're thrilled to be here, and part of Jazz at Lincoln Center's mission is to visit places around the world that we wouldn't normally get to tour. And this is actually the first time that the orchestra has done a multi-country tour of the continent of Africa. So prior to this, we were in South Africa, Kenya, Nigeria, and now Ghana. And it's been amazing to learn about the Ghana Jazz Foundation and the work that they're doing to bring jazz and jazz education to the community and the students of the community. And that's really what we're most passionate about, is how can we get together with people from other communities? How can we bring our strengths together and create an even greater force for bringing the music forward in both of our communities?
Okay, so your presence here is all about performing at a Plus 233, right? Yes, that's why you're here.
Yes, and we have some master classes, some education classes through the Ghana Jazz Foundation. So we have many of our musicians doing a class with 20-year-old, 30-year-old young musicians from the area talking about jazz improvisation. We've also got members of our touring team giving lectures on music business and starting a career in jazz for those who are interested. We did a press conference with Winton the other day and had the most adorable young group of brass musicians there to play for him. So we're really trying to get as much face time with students as we can.
Okay. And you are here to when? Because you're performing today, tomorrow?
Today, tomorrow, and then we leave on Sunday, sadly. We leave.
I'm here.
You stay.
You will be here.
I'm here. Because I'm doing something also on Sunday in Jamestown. I'm having a full folkloric jam with all my family, all the superstar folkloric artists around from all over for folkloric, whether they play every music, gum music, Asante music, all the drummers and dancers will be there in Jamestown.
So when we come to Plus 233 today and tomorrow, we should expect to hear jazz. That's it, or there's something special about it too.
I love answering this question because a lot of times you're expecting to hear a certain sound. What you are going to hear is a full circle moment.
Okay.
And that full circle moment will encompass everything that we hear here, whether it's music of gum music, whether it's whatever, logo, high life, will have the same voicings of what left and what has came back. Which means, in the States, we're playing all this big band music. We're playing it. What you will hear would be the voicings of the big band music, bebop, voices from music of the Malinke, Bambara, music of the Asante, music of the Gun tradition. You will hear all those traditions and all the styles generated together. Yeah, it's a very, as I said earlier, it's very sophisticated, but very, very, very forward music, moving music.
Why should I be there?
Why not? I'm back. That's enough. But then you have the great Wynton Marsalis and the great Alexa Tarantino and the great Jazz at Lincoln Center Orchestra. Also, it's going to be a full circle homecoming for jazz in Ghana. Okay. And I would not just say in Ghana, in Africa as well. Because something this special and powerful, I think, really needs to be seen amongst our people here. It's important, and also it's important for the generation of musicians and young musicians to come and see that we don't have to leave our traditions to play something else, but we can also combine our forces to create something special.
Okay. So will other local artists have the opportunity to play with you tonight and tomorrow?
Yes, actually. So the Ghana Jazz Foundation has programmed an opening act for each of the concerts. So tonight I'll be performing as a guest with one of the opening bands, along with one of my colleagues, the trombonist Vincent Gardner. Tomorrow, 2 other members of the Jazz at Lincoln Center Orchestra will rehearse and perform with that opening act before we go into premiering here in Ghana the piece Afro, co-composed by Winton and Weedy. And to jump on to answer your question, I would just say if you want to have a good time and you want to feel good, that's really what it's all about for us.
Okay, so I'm happy. Having fun and feeling good.
It's just bringing people together and you know, recognizing that we may be from miles and miles and miles apart, but we can come together on this one thing that can kind of open up and make waves that you wouldn't have expected.
I'm happy because I'm also going to be joined by some of my family members. We are playing.
Oh, okay. Your family members are here.
Yeah.
Are you a Ghana?
Yeah, we'll be here.
Okay. I see you. All right. So, Brahma, before I let you go, your last words to our viewers.
For me, the most important thing is to maintain our tradition, but utilize our tradition in other voices. To keep our tradition and show the trajectory of our tradition in other worlds, so our tradition can stay alive.
Alexa.
I would just say thank you so much for having us, and on behalf of Jazz at Lincoln Center, it's been beautiful to be here for my first time in Ghana, to have Weedy as my expert guide through it all. Beautiful people, beautiful culture, and we're so grateful, and we'll be back soon, we hope.
Good
You have to come and see her play. Dangerous.
It's dangerous, huh? But you should have brought one, so you do a small, you know.
That means you have to come
for
tonight.
us. But you could have done a small freestyle.
Come tonight and tomorrow.
Okay. Thank you very much, Alexa
Thank
and Woody, for coming on the show. Yeah. And that's it there. So from entertainment, really, this is showbiz entertainment. We will bring you the E-Corner with Noella Karin Iyale. But just before, Philip Osei Bonsu, who is with our sister station at Sempa FM, is a year older today. Philip, wherever you are, happy birthday to you. You are such a wonderful human being. Proper human being. Thanks for all you do for humanity. Thanks for all you do for your friends, including me. So Philip Osei Bonsu, happy birthday to you wherever you are. Do enjoy your super day, my friend. So it's, no, let me do it. Philip Osei Bonsu, Esquire. If I take the Esquire out, I'm dead. And Pakwesi Shando, I'm told you also celebrate your birthday today. You didn't tell me when I interviewed you earlier, but brother, do have a great time. Enjoy yourself. You are on a good trajectory. Keep growing and keep glowing as well. And also to you, Charlotte Ajman, I'm told that, okay. Breman Esikuma, Breman Chalimukon Chero. Charlotte Ajman of Breman Esikuma Snit, your birthday is today. Please do enjoy your day, yeah? Have a fantastic day. We'll take a break here. We'll be back with E-Corner with the lady, Noella Karin Iyale. Beautiful, enchanting young lady. Let her enchant you on the screens. Do stay.
You're welcome back to the AM show, but of course it's now time for E-Corner with yours truly, Noella Karin Iyale. And today we have a special one for you. We have an E-Corner exclusive. Now, every now and then you meet an artist whose story doesn't just echo through the charts, but through culture as well. My guest today is one of those voices. He's a Grammy-nominated singer, a songwriter, and producer whose pen has blessed some of the biggest names in the music industry in, you know, the global stage. I'm talking Usher, Chris Brown, Justin Bieber, and many more. Take a look. But yeah, beyond the hits he's helped make, he's also carved out his own lane, blending heartfelt storytelling with a smooth R&B edge that's unmistakably his own. And now he's connecting continents, teaming up with Africa's Queen. I'm talking about Tiwa Savage. And it's for a song called Understood. This time, the remix version. It's a record that fuses soul and rhythm, emotions and movement. And so today we want to go beyond the music. We're talking about love, we're talking about vulnerability, and what it means to really build a bridge musically between worlds. Ladies and gentlemen, Eric Bellinger is my guest on eCorner today, and he's joining us via Zoom from the United States of America. Eric, you're welcome to eCorner.
Thank you so much for having me. How you doing?
I'm awesome. Thanks for asking. How are you doing?
I'm good. So right now in the States, it is like, 2:30 in the morning, but I'm good. I'm happy to be here.
Wow.
You know what I'm
I
saying?
mean, I'm impressed. So you stayed up till 2:30 a.m. in the morning just for the interview.
Yes, no sleep yet. I'm gonna go to sleep
Wow.
after this though.
Wow. Awesome. So let's start with this collaboration everyone is talking about, Understood, the remix version. I'm thinking a lot of people watching would probably think we should have climaxed with, conversations around Understood. But I want us to start from there because I've listened to the song. I love it. It's a beautiful song. But there's one question I've been wanting to ask R&B musicians like yourself. Oftentimes when I listen to R&B songs, I am amazed at how you're able to transfer some sort of warmth, some sort of energy that you're feeling, and you transfer it to your vocals and creating a melody. How do you guys do that?
So the melody is all subjective. Everyone may hear a different melody. When you hear the music, the first thing that comes out of your mouth and, before there's any words, it has to complement the music. And there's a such thing as a melody that's good, but then there's a such thing as a melody that's great.
Okay.
So I try to just make sure that the melody that I come up with is something that feels like a marriage,
Right.
before I even have the lyrics. So that connection has to be strong.
I see. And obviously, you released Understood, I believe, in 2024. And you decided to do the remix with Tiwa Savage this year. What inspired that decision to, first of all, do a remix of the song? And why specifically Tiwa Savage?
So that specific song did really well when I released it last year. So I was like, okay, we can move on to the next album, or we could pay attention to the fans. It's already been doing so good on streams. I recently went on tour and performed the song, and everyone loved it when I performed it. And when Tiwa heard the song, she loved it. I reached out to my buddy Scoop, who played it for her, and man, he was like, she loves it, but right now we're working on her album, so if you don't mind waiting a little bit so she could finish, we would love to get on the song.
Right.
So I was like, whenever y'all ready, I'm gonna be ready. So that's pretty much why it was a remix, because I gave it to her a while ago, but I told them whenever she was ready, I was gonna be excited to promote it.
Awesome. Sounds like an interesting story, and I love it.
Yeah.
But, both R&B and Afrobeats, which is a genre Tiwa represents, they tell love stories, but in such distinctively different ways, right? So what felt fresh or exciting about blending these two worlds in this record?
So I've been doing just strictly R&B for so long, like this is, I have over, between mixtape, EPs, albums, over 40 albums, so for me, I recently went to, in 2024, I took a trip to South Africa. And when I went there, I was going strictly just to create music. I like to create in different places of the world, sometimes on the beach, sometimes in Airbnbs. And this particular trip was like, let's go to Africa and let's make a writing camp and have all the writers, all the producers, and everyone be from, Africa, so that when I come out there, I can learn I can be with the people, and I can actually make organic music that is real, that's authentic, as opposed to just making the songs at home and hoping it sounds good and
Right.
hoping everyone likes it. As like I rather
You wanted
include
to touch
everyone.
base with the continent directly.
That's it, exactly.
Right. And this song you're talking about, I mean, we'll talk more about your time in South Africa, curating that album you're talking about. I've listened to the album as well. I think it's great. It featured one of our own, Jackie. I'm going to ask you a lot about Jackie as well.
Okay.
But, I mean, this song, what is it about? Understood. Who is understanding what? Who is being understood? I mean, tell me about it.
So, okay, so you know how you have your significant other, whether you're a man, whether you're a woman, whatever, you have your boo thing, right? Say, for example, you did not say, hey, I want you to be my girlfriend. Hey, I want you to be my boyfriend. Hey, I want this to be exclusive. Hey, I want this to be me and you. Hey, sometimes you don't even have to say. Sometimes what's understood doesn't need to be explained. And I think it's a connection of course, I think it's an exclusive connection, but it's a silent connection that doesn't need words. It's something that's a chemistry that speaks louder.
Right. And you also blended R&B and Afrobeat. And obviously in Ghana and across West Africa, artists like Jackie, who you've collaborated with on your album, Camido. I don't know, have you heard about Camido?
I haven't heard of Camido.
Okay, you should check him out. He's a fantastic artist, as well as Kitty. They're doing the same kind of fusion where they fuse soft R&B tones over Afrobeat, percussions. And so I guess the question I want to ask you is, when you listen to sounds from this side, the side of the world, I'm talking about the African continent, what really stands out to you about the African sound system?
For one, the ability is the joy, to dance and just the happy music. And I think for me, when every time I hear it, before there's even any words, that first beat just makes me want to dance, and it puts me in a different mood, So I wanted to add my same type of R&B melodies, the stories, the concepts, except the beats now have rhythm. The beats now have sounds that I typically wouldn't hear. So if for me it's brand new music, and it's a refreshing experience for me, even as the creator, So I don't know. I just wanted to just turn it up a little bit, and give it some tempo, give the music some tempo.
And what would you say is our selling point? I mean, would you say the rhythm is our selling point, or what it is, in your opinion, from where you sit?
I think it's because sometimes the simplicity of the beats is just like, that space is important, So I don't know. I was hearing so many different beats. Like, I didn't say I'm gonna go to Africa to make an Afrobeats project. I just went to make music, So when I got there and the producers were like, "Hey, we got a new beat. Hey, check out this beat," it was like, it just formulated naturally. Like, okay, we're making an Afrobeats project. But it was just really to go out and be amongst the people in the motherland and create music.
I love it. And from where you sit, again, what do you think is so unique that we as African artists bring to the table when it comes to global music?
Yeah. What I learned a lot was the actual people that I was working with. I was able to connect with outside of the music immediately. Like, we would have studio sessions, but then we would take a break and go outside and talk and conversate. And I think the things that matter while I was there, it made a big difference from being at home in the States, because America tends to be wrapped up in so much of the media, so much of the things that really don't matter. You know what I'm saying? Like, when it comes to actually being productive, and when it comes to progressing as a human nation, So it was so freeing to be there and not worry about anything that didn't serve me, but to actually work with people and meet new people. Like, it was family from the beginning, and I think it reflected in the music.
And you're not the only artists in the diaspora I've heard talk about how peaceful they feel anytime they touch the soil of the, the African continent. And it's great. It's great that we radiate that type of energy. Now, let's get into or touch base with the songwriting aspect of you, because you're an excellent songwriter, right? And you have written and performed for some of the world's biggest names. But this collaboration, in my opinion, it felt like something bigger than music. And so for you, within that context, what does connecting with Africa really represent musically and personally to you?
Yeah. So for me, I've been doing this a long time, and the only thing that I've been after lately is paying it forward and trying to involve other people in order to help them be successful. So when I went out there to make the music, it was like it's important for, the creators to be from the country. It's important for even all the features. Like you said, Giaki, we had Oxlade, we had Ricardo Banks, we have Tiwa Savage. I have artists called Daycomb on one of the songs. Like all of these songs, it's important to not only work with them, but if we win a Grammy, that means I was able to bring a Grammy to Africa and involve people that have maybe not had the opportunity to, work on an album with people from the States. And that to me, to give each person the Grammy, the highest achievement in music, I know what that will do for their life. I've done it before for myself, and it changed my life.
Right.
It opened doors for me that I never would have known have opened, because people just want to get close. Once they see you're successful, they want a piece of the success. So I'm like, if I can give that to them and then open doors for them, it's like that's more so what I'm after now, is just involving more people that are talented. Even my record, I have a label now, and we've signed 15 artists. None of these artists are viral artists. None of these artists are, these are people that I believe in, that I want to artist develop, that I want to teach, that I want to mentor. And that's just kind of been my mission. So it just doesn't stop here in the States. I want to also bridge the gap between the continents as well.
Very selfless, very, very selfless of you. Kudos to you and the team. But again, let's still stay with songwriting. Now, oftentimes I have heard a lot of people say, oh, I wrote this song for this person. Or I've heard like Ed Sheeran writing a song for, let's say, Beyonce. Or let's say it was an Ed Sheeran's original, and maybe decided to let Beyonce try your vocals on it, and then they did, and like, okay, you can have the song. Oftentimes when I hear that, oh, this song wasn't written by this artist, it was written by the other artist, I'm unable to reconcile that original artist's voice on the lyrics. And so it brings me to the question, how are people like you, songwriters, able to write a song that fits the personality of other artists so well that we cannot, we cannot even picture you, the original songwriter, on the record?
Yeah. Well, when I'm writing for someone else, I'm completely taking myself out of the picture.
Right.
The example you named of like Ed Sheeran or somebody that does a song, they don't use it, and another artist likes it.
Yeah.
And then like, oh, I like that song, I'll cut it. That's completely different from me writing a song intentionally for Brandy.
So what do you assume Brandy's personality?
Yes.
Take me through that mental process.
I have to put myself in their shoes. I really love when I'm able to be in the studio with them, because I have conversation. I ask them, how are you doing in life? Are you in love? Did you just break up? Are you happy? What are you thinking today? You thinking up tempo? You want to do a slow song? You thinking a bedroom vibe? You thinking some kind of party song? And I think once I can chip away and kind of get into their brain, now I'm gonna deliver something that I know they'll love, at least from the concept. So then it's up to me to find a melody register that complements that artist. I can't make a song for Eric Bellinger. This is specifically for Chris Brown. This song right here, the Usher playing, this is for specifically, I went to Miami to write for Usher only. So all of the songs that I was doing, that's the first big song right there that I did that got me into every room. Usher was like, "Yo, I love this song. I need to get you with Justin Bieber." You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like so many things have happened just from that song, but you definitely have to put yourself in the shoes and say, what would Usher do? What would Beyonce do? And study them enough to nail it.
And I'm
I'm not
that I'm sure you'll agree. I mean, again, let's briefly go back to your song, your collaboration with Tiwa Savage. I'm sure you'll agree with the notion that collaborations like those are helping, reconnect the diaspora, especially African Americans, to the continent in ways beyond just social media. Would you agree with that?
100%. 100%. People, need to collaborate more. You know what I mean? Like it's not as easy as it seems because there's so much politics and there's so many things in between. But luckily for me, when I went to do this project, everyone that we reached out to and asked, they said yes. The first time. There was no, I don't know. It was all like, yes. We knew the song. We said, let's send this song to Oxlade. Let's send this song to Giaki, Miss Africa. It's perfect, And I think because we were so intentional and we're so thought out and so strategic, it was like we did our due diligence in order for it to make it easy for them to say yes.
Yeah. And my last question was just about wrapping up the interview. I mean, it breaks my heart because I am really, really enjoying this. But my last question to you would be about vulnerability with music. You aren't so shy about, being very bare and raw with your emotions, with how you write and the kind of songs that you write. But in this part of, the continent, we do not concern ourselves so much so with men's mental health, for instance. We do not encourage our men, to show emotions. A lot of men that show emotions are seen as weak, oh, you're being a girl. For a young artist watching you right now, from quote unquote a big brother artist to a younger one, what would be your message to them in terms of writing and how raw they should get, how bare they should get?
Yeah, man, I would encourage any up and coming songwriter that is aspiring, to be in front of the world, to have some ammo that the world can hang on to, because there's so many creatives out there. There's so many people talking about the monies, the cars, and the clothes, but if you are able to open up your heart and if you are able to tell a story, whether it's love or based on pain, those are songs that people can relate to more. So for me, I'm always trying to make a song that's a daily mantra, or that is a song that, it has replay value, but diamonds and all of those things is like, they really don't, like, once you hear it one time, you're like, okay to not hear it again, but for me, for example, when I first heard Mary J. Blige, Be Without You, it evoked so many emotions because I felt her pain.
Right.
So I would definitely say, find out what makes your own story unique and embrace it, because the world, especially now, they gravitate more towards that. They're more inclined to, like Drake when he's vulnerable. Everyone loves Drake when he's vulnerable and he sings this sad song. It's like, we can relate to it. So I think just that relatability is there for the vulnerability. And if you can catch someone's heartstring, you got them for life.
That's excellent. Very insightful. And thank you for sharing that with the younger generation of artists coming up. This has been wonderful. I'm really, really enjoying this conversation. There are 1,000 questions I would have loved to ask you, but let's wrap up with your song. But of course, I know in December you're coming to Ghana, right?
Yes, I have
Okay,
to.
yeah, you should find me when you get to Ghana. So I take you to some of the, my director says, no way. But anyway, definitely we'll try and do something together when you come to Ghana. And obviously I'll show you some places you'll probably enjoy our food and culture as well. So this has been wonderful.
Wait.
Thank you so much for speaking to us. And of course, we're going to end this brilliant, beautiful conversation with Eric Bellinger, who is an American singer, songwriter, Grammy nominated. Look, he's been the guy behind several hits that you have heard on your radio internationally and all. And today we got to sit with him and have a conversation with him on the back of a collaboration he's made with Nigeria's superstar Tiwa Savage. It's called Understood, the remix version. You should check it out. It's a beautiful song. And just to give you a teaser, we're going to play that with you, for you, and end the conversation. I'm Noella Kareniali. Of course, Mamyesi Thompson is up next with Joy News Desk. Enjoy the rest of our programming.
Because I want it, babe. Yeah, maybe take it off like you do it for some money.